what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change what you wanted. I wish that I could change.
Hello and welcome. Nice to be at your place wherever you're watching right around the world. It's time for the 6th round of Season 2 of AGT's ACC Championship. And tonight it's the TrackSpotTV Challenge. And this is our drivers' first foray into our sprint/feature format, with the sprint race featuring a reverse top 10 of qualifying, which will set the grid for the sprint race. And given the unforgiving nature of this Mount Panorama circuit, anything could happen. And who will be king of the mountain tonight? Well, to talk with me through all the action this evening, it's not Isaac Fogarty. We've got a new old voice alongside me this evening. It's none other than George Cooke. Good evening to you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, new old, second hand maybe a little bit, but it's good to be here. First time here in the AGT ACC. I think I might have done 1 or 2 rounds in Season 1, but of course I'm the guy in behind the scenes, usually making jokes and trying to trip these guys up. I'm the CEO of TrackSpotTV, and it is actually a real pleasure to be here for the TrackSpotTV Challenge. Bathurst, it's going to be a good race. I'm looking forward to the reverse grid for the sprint race. That's going to be excellent, and as you said, Trev, sets the grid for the feature race. It's going to be wild. It's never boring at the mountain.
Absolutely, never a dull moment around the mountain. Let's recap this season so far. Round 1 was the Italian job, of course. Seems like a long time ago, doesn't it? Way back on the 2nd of May. And then it was the Spanish Super Sprint. We had a second crack at that one, of course, last time out for round 2 of the championship. We headed to Silverstone in round 3 for the Silverstone Clash, and then the King of the Ring, which was the first of the sprint format, of course, for this AGT Championship for round 4 of the season. The American Grand Prix, first of the endurance rounds of the season. And, of course, before leading in to this evening, we might take a quick look at the drivers' standings. And there's some gaps starting to form here, George, but still there's some battles to play out in the final rounds of the season.
Yeah, I've been following the series so far. There's been some excellent racing out there all throughout the last few races. Matt Donetti has been really impressive. I mean, he just keeps going and putting his good foot forward. 825 points, and he's got a substantial lead, over 141-point gap to Simon Bishop, who I would have been expecting personally, I know the man personally as well, to be right up there. But BCG2 not quite in the position that they want to be. Josh Struick in there for TTR Southside, and he's another fair chunk of points behind. So a bit of a gap starting to evolve in the pro category. Then it's the pro-am category. We've got Adam Gray leading away right now, but the gap there is very close. Bob Norley hot on his heels for Team XV Primer, and that's 478 points versus 484 points. Senton Staley still in there too, but needs to do a little bit of work. So the gap there is actually smaller for the top 3 than it is between the top 2 in the pro category. Am class, you've got Wayne Tanner for Kiwi Pit Lane on 254 points, followed by Ian Stewart, so the 2 Kiwi Pit Lane boys repping it for the Kiwis here today, and then Matt Boyd for Fogarty Motorsport Junior. Fair ways off, but still within the same gap that we've got for the pro category.
Absolutely, still anything can happen as we switch across to the teams. And once again, we can see CP Motorsports dominating there with Matt Donetti and Aidan Holton. But still, also, it's pretty tight, isn't it, amongst that midfield group there?
It certainly is, and BCG here, when you look at it, is not that far off. Simon Bishop and Liam Tame, of course, great combination of the pairings. They're only about, I think it's about 38 points off of second place at the moment, and the overall 100-point gap or so to that first place. Matt Donetti keeps putting in these consistent performances, though, and it is going to be tough for them to really, actually lose out. We've got a whole bunch of races still to come in the season, but CP Motorsports doing fantastic. Westside, CP Racing, Defy Motorsports, all hanging on to that sort of 5th to 7th place. It's really up for grabs, but I think, we've got to be keeping an eye on 2nd to 5th at the moment.
Absolutely, and let's take a look. Of course, this is round 6 of this championship, the TrackSpotTV Challenge. Of course, we're going to have 15 minutes of qualifying, which will, of course, set the grid for the 30-minute feature. Sorry, we'll set the grid for the feature race, and then, of course, we've got the sprint race reverse grid as well. So this is going to keep us guessing right throughout the course of the evening here.
It certainly will, and this is a good little format. We're going to have the qualifying, so we are currently in qualifying right now. We'll switch to that in a few minutes' time, and then 15 minutes total for that qualifying. So reduced from the traditional 20 minutes. And there will be a couple of breaks in between the sprint race and the feature race, when you do have to get the server admins to do a few little touch-ups in terms of the entry list to effectively put that format in. Then we'll see them, of course, go into the sprint race, which will be really fantastic.
Absolutely. And before that, of course, we spoke about this circuit, George. There's not much that the Aussies and the Kiwis agree on, but I guess we can both agree here this evening. This is one of the legendary circuits on the ACC calendar.
It's amazing. 6.2 kilometers of the meanest, nastiest, best racing you can possibly have. Starts at turn 1, Hell Corner. You fly up the mountain, and this is where things get tricky. Griffin's Bend, which is labeled Quarry Bend there. That's not true. That's Griffin's Bend into the cutting, and then you're up the hill into Reed Park, Frog Hollow, Sulman Park, McPhillamy Park, towards Skyline. This is where it gets tricky, and those mid-engine cars are going to struggle down the dipper. So will the front-engine cars. It's all about driver skill and confidence around this circuit. Head down through Forest Elba, the Hanger Straight, and into the world-famous Chase. And the final corner, of course, Murray's Corner.
Absolutely fantastic, this circuit indeed. And opened back in 1938 and hasn't been changed for a long, long time. It is a true motorsport classic, this one. We are going to now head to the first of the qualifying sessions here this evening. It's a jammed, packed schedule we've got here as we head across now to the qualifying session. And it looks as though we've got some rather familiar names at the top with 7 and a bit minutes remaining in this session. Can we see anybody break that magical 2-minute mark? Can we see a lap of the gods here in this session?
I think it's possible. Given what we've seen with Simon Bishop and some of the qualifying laps he's put in, where he's been clear of the field by much more than he is right now, it's entirely possible. And some of these cars will be able to do that 1:59 magic lap. The question is going to be, are they going to, actually have the time to sort of do it? There's 7 minutes left. It's a long lap here, 2 minutes. You've got to get through your out lap as well. That's going to be 2.5 minutes or so as well. 29 degrees Celsius on track, 25 degree in the atmosphere, optimum track conditions, slightly cloudy. So there's a little bit of tyre preservation that you can do with those clouds, but at the end of the day, it's hot, it's Australian, and we're out there, and the gap at the top is only 22 hundredths of a second right now. Absolutely.
There is nothing between Matt Simmons and Simon Bishop. These two, of course, they are quite familiar to battling it out very close on the circuit. Matt Tanetti down in P5, and he is half a second off of provisional pole position. Nick Carter there slotting in to P6, and as always, we can see just a second covering that top 10 all the way down the field. We can see Matty Boyd, drivers still yet to set a time. Boyd, Griffin, DeWitt as well in the Ferrari, still in the pit lane. And of course, you can see it's going to be an interesting format, of course. Sprint race coming up first of all. And it is going to be a 30-minute sprint race, reverse top 10 from quali. And is this tactical? Are these guys just staying there? They know it's a reverse grid, of course. But of course, it is the actual grid for the feature race. As we see them coming out here, very important. These guys trying to set a lap. It is one of the longest circuits we go to here on the calendar. So finding track position is not that difficult.
I think there's a couple of schools of thought here. There is the school of thought that is starting at the back of the grid at Bathurst is actually a net positive. You get to take more overtakes in the early part. You avoid the chaos in the mid-pack, which gets very, very hairy, very, very spicy. And you just give yourself that little bit of breathing room. But this is a sprint format, so you do need to worry about where you qualify. It's only the top 10 who are in reverse order, as I understand it. So I think, for the top 10, they've got to be a little bit worried about that. The rest of the grid, not so much. And it may be beneficial for the pro drivers to be starting in that 11th position, follow on the real fast guys. As we see a bit of a mistake by DeWitt. He's going to go ping-ponging off the barriers there. It's a tricky place to make a mistake. He'll reset, actually, on this. And another quick note here, no Bob Norley or Senan Staley tonight. No Wayne Tanner for the AM Championship. He's our AM Championship leader, so he's decided to take this one off, unfortunately. So a real shame not to see him today. Silver looks to be in the lead of the Pro-Am at the moment.
Absolutely. We can see there Max Silver in the 75 Mercedes. A second overall off the provisional pole time of a 2:06.17. We do have, we like to talk about our reserves each and every week. Of course, we won't roll with all of them, of course, but Ryan Tame, Josh Green, Daniel Wood, Mark Hurley, John Shepherd, Nathan Hutton. So there are some reserves or fill-ins, as we also like to call them, for this evening. But have a look at that gap between first and second. They are exchanging quick times here.
Simmons on top now with that 2 minutes 6:17, so an improvement over his previous lap. And yeah, Bishop finds himself now in second place, so the pressure is certainly with Bishop now, and the BMW is looking strong here, but the real surprise to me is Henderson. Really good lap in the Mercedes, and in the 877, 0.355 off at the moment. Looks like we've got Simmons going for yet another lap, and another lap being finished here. What can Henderson do? Across the line we go. Let's see what this time is. It is not an improvement, but guess who did improve? It's Simon Bishop again. Incredible
stuff there. 2 minutes, 0.590. I don't think we're going to see anybody in the magical 159s, but those two, look how close it is. Not even a tenth of a second between first and second, and also very close between Sheppers there and Max Silver as well in the Pro-Am class. Look how tight it is. It's a little bit more of a gap, but not much.
Not much at all. Andre Sheppers, of course, was in the pits when we last trolled the camera through there, but he's gone out and done a fantastic starter lap, puts himself second in the Pro-Am category. Good racer he is. I'm familiar with him personally from the NZERS days, GT7, and I tell you, he is young, he's South African, and he's a very quick chap, so good to see him back on the track here today.
Absolutely, and we see Ian Stewart into the pit lane as well, along with Takax and Boyd. We'll keep an eye on the AM class. Let's have a look at Anthony Burrows now in the Pro class, of course, tonight, but with 2.5 minutes remaining in this session, worrying signs for him. 2.4 seconds off the pace. That is not quite where we expected Burrows to be in this session for TTR Eastside.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one. The Ford should be relatively strong here, especially given the straights. They can really stretch their legs, but a recent BOP update, of course, has made them not quite as good as they were. So a lot of this is going to be setup dependent today, I think, for the Fords, and they've got to make that compromise. Big, heavy car. It's got a lot of power, a lot of torque that can be put to the rear axle, and that can be really dangerous through Skyline and the Dipper. But then, of course, when you get down Forest Elbows, you really want to be just putting your foot to the floor and letting the car sort of just grip into the road and take it away. And it's really good. It's a really good car for doing that. I just feel like over the top of the mountain, it's going to be a bit of a struggle, and that might be what we're seeing today. Only one Ford in the top three right now, and it's gotten even closer. Struick, in the 33, has put himself in third place, and he's only 82 hundredths away. So pole position separated by just under 1/10 of a second. There's literally 1/1000th of a second between the top three of them from the overall 1/10.
Unbelievable times, as we see every week in this AGT ACC season. Already round 6, of course, just a tick over a minute in this first qualifying. And I tell you what, these guys using every bit of track available to him there for Josh Struick. Down to the final corner, Murray's corner. And if he can get this right, can he go even quicker? You can see the track map in the right-hand corner of your screen. Keep an eye on the drivers who can make it around for another lap as Struick goes across the line. And not improving on that occasion, but still Fleming up into P4 now. Just 0.2 of a second covering the first 2 rows of the grid, and only a second down to James Barton there in P11. The Ferraris, we haven't seen too many of them in the field tonight, but they are outside the top 10 here.
Yeah, and to be honest, they'll be kind of, they'll be kind of happy, I think, to be quite out of the top 10. It's the top 10 reverse confirmed. That is the top 10 reversing, not the rest of the grid. So for a while there, it was going to be Silver on pole position after the reverse. He's managed to get up into 8th place, which will put him, I think, into 3rd overall. So he's still starting right at the front of the grid. Great opportunity for him today in the Mercedes. Barton's on a lap. Cross Skyline we go. Does clip the curb ever so slightly. Does he get it turned in nicely? Sometimes these MR cars can struggle with the rear end, the Ferrari especially. To start to bleed out the time, the tyre life. It does get very, very tricky as we now have the wait time ticking down. This is it. These are the final laps. About 10 or 12 cars still on grid as the Porsche ahead doesn't seem to have the best run through Forest Elbow, but it's clean at the moment for Barton. If he gets up into this top 10, he'll be a happy man. Silver is in the pits. Simmons is in the pits. Tame is in the pits at the moment. Piper's in the pits. And at the moment, Silver leading the Pro-Am Championship in terms of this qualifying. It looks like we're going to have Simon Bishop starting in P10 as he puts in another fantastic time.
Absolutely there, as we see James Barton. We've got another couple of cars further ahead of him. One of them is a Mercedes. In fact, that's not a Mercedes. What am I talking about? It's a Porsche. As we come around the final corner, we'll stick with James Barton here. You can see the top two there set. 10th and 9th, of course, reverse top 10 as we see Barton come across the line. We might see who else we've got coming around to complete their lap. No, Adam Elzine there. The young man has completed his lap, but we keep ticking through this order here. We can see Boyd there leading the way in the AM class over Stewart and Takax there as we continue to count down towards the end of this session. Here comes a Nicholson across the line in the Pro-Am class. Can he improve on this occasion? No is the answer. And I think Elzine there, who's continuing to go up the mountain, he must have snuck through as we take a look at Green now, coming through the final corner in the 232 Mustang. What can he do as he comes across the line? Can't improve there, but Elzine must have just snuck in across the start-finish line before the timer went out, and no, he stopped out on the circuit, back into the pit lane, and that is the end of this first qualifying session. And, well, it's we've got plenty of value for money here this evening, George, because we have a 30-minute sprint race coming up.
Indeed, and it's the top 10 reverse for this sprint race. So there'll be a 5-minute interval now, ladies and gentlemen, as the server admins get things in order. But it'll be in 10th place, Simon Bishop. In 9th, it'll be Simmons. In 8th, it'll be Struick. In 7th, it'll be Fleming. In 6th, it'll be Henderson. In 5th, it'll be Danetti. In 4th, it'll be Carter. In 3rd, it'll be Silver. So great result there for the Pro-Am driver. 2nd will be Machin, and then Holton will be on pole position for the start of this race. And I'll be honest with you, Trev, look, starting up the order in Bathurst is great. As soon as you're past the second place area, it's tricky. Because you are going up Mountain Straight, going through Hell Corner for that first time, and then once you get into Griffin's Bend, if you're on the outside, you're going to be losing positions. And then we go up the hill, and you've got to be single file at that point. So this is going to come down to driver skill and driver awareness, and this is going to be really, really important for the drivers today. Just to be aware, it's a 30-minute sprint race, so it's going to be hectic. There's going to be a lot of pressure to make overtakes and make them happen quickly, but your best bet's always going to be down the chase into the last couple of corners, or, of course, Hell Corner is another good place to overtake, and Griffin's Bend as you just go up the hill. That right-hander, going to be a key overtaking place today, and we're going to be focusing on that. Welcome in to everyone who's in chat, by the way, in the Adrenaline GT YouTube, the TrackSpot TV YouTube, and Twitch. Great to have you in here. Feel free to ask any questions. We've got our eye on you, and yeah, evening indeed.
Absolutely, across both Twitch and YouTube this evening, of course. We do have a slight break here. Of course, the sprint race, there will be no mandatory pit stop, of course, and you do not want to be in that midfield pack, as you said, George. McPhillamy Skyline, the S's, especially on lap 1, as we can see, just waiting for our drivers to get ready for this sprint race. And we've spent more time in the commentary box, haven't we, over the previous years, but I'm just trying to think back to my days of sim racing back in the very early days on the last gen of consoles, George, and what's going through the drivers' minds at this stage, because it's not just the longer format, we've got the shorter format race as well, so these drivers need to adjust to the different race style of race, length of race, and they need to do it quickly, don't they?
Oh, they do. I think the key thing for drivers to focus on at this point is going to be their starting position and who they're starting around. At the end of the day, you're racing these other gentlemen who have been out there, gentlemen and ladies, I should say, who you've been racing through the season with, and you'll know a little bit about their driving styles. You know what they're keen for. You'll understand the differences with the new BOP settings that have come through and which cars have an advantage at this track and which ones don't. And you need to understand your own car differences too. So, like I said before, it was a setup. Setup is going to be absolutely key at a circuit like this. And I've driven in plenty of races where I've got that completely wrong, and you just find yourself falling back through the field. But yes, you've got to be aware of that stuff, but I think the big thing is going to be safety. Really, at the end of the day, you want to make it to the end of this sprint race. It's setting essentially a longer qualifying session here, where you're racing with other participants on the grid, and the urgency is important. So a bit of care, but smart overtakes. Get in your opponent's head. Get yourself onto that alternative line. Not at Griffin's Bend though. Do not try and overtake around the outside there. We see it go wrong all the time. So the key there is just going to be picking your time, picking your moment. You're not going to be having opportunities really over the hill, but there will be mistakes there. So it's a tricky one. This circuit here, I mean, we try and predict what's going to happen, Trev, but it's one of those circuits that creates unpredictability for the drivers and for us.
Absolutely. It's do not try this at home, that's for sure, but yeah, very difficult as always to predict what's going on here. But what about that lap from Simon Bishop in qualifying? We saw him trading blows there with Matt Simmons. Josh Struick there was only just under a couple of tenths off from that front row of the grid, but familiar names at the top, and we're just waiting for the drivers, of course, resetting the lobby here to get underway for this 30-minute sprint race. Like we said, no mandatory pit stops here in the reverse top 10 from quali. You're a lot younger than me, George, so if I get that format mixed up in any way, shape or form, just shout out and let me know before a 60-minute feature race, which is the normal qualifying results, is it not, with one mandatory pit stop as well in there?
As I understand it, that's correct. So it'll be the results of the sprint race used as the qualifying order for the feature race, which will be a 60-minute race. So it's a little bit longer. We've got a little bit of a longer stream for everyone tonight, but it's Bathurst, so why wouldn't you? I love seeing racing here, so I'm keen for this slightly longer format today. It's not an enduro, but this is going to be good. Really, really will be. And yeah, look, that lap from Simon Bishop, I have to echo your sentiments there. 2-minute flat 0.4. Very competitive, very quick. He's got a couple of chaps who are right on his heels in terms of that pace. And I don't think this is going to be an easy walk away with it win for Simon Bishop. It needs to be tactical. He's got a lot of overtaking to do at the start of this race, of course. And then he needs to set himself up for essentially a good position for the start of the feature race. And that's where the big points are going to come in. You know, I play ACC on PC, so don't hate me, everyone out there. But you know, I'm quite happy to have said that in my McLaren, I've been able to crack a 2:06 at one point. A very sketchy lap it was. So I know how quick these guys are having to drive around here, and it takes full confidence. And you're going to need to take some of that into this race as well. There is no overtake at Bathurst without a huge dose of confidence. You need to know what you're doing. You need to indicate to the other driver that what your intentions are going to be. And then you need to make it happen. Hesitation here causes crashes.
Absolutely. Just when you think you've conquered the mountain, you'll be eating pieces of concrete for breakfast as we get ready to go in this first 30-minute sprint race. We are waiting. Let's just wait and see the drivers getting ready here for this one. I know you're not a betting man. You are an ACC on PC man, which that might change things between us, George. Now you're not a console man, but anyway, never mind about that. But who are we tipping here this evening? Please, George, if you had to stick your neck out, give us a smoky and give us a sure thing here this evening leading into the race.
I think arguably at the end of the day, any console or PC race in ACC is going to have its a gambling element to it, let's just put it that way, especially if you're at Monza. Anyway, before I recall any further stories of interesting starts in ACC, my money today is probably going to be on Simon Bishop. And I know that's the default thing that's going on. For Pro Class, certainly, I think he's got a real good shot here today. Unfortunately for Silver, I think he's going to really struggle. He's starting in P3, Pro-Am class leader today. That's a tricky place to start up there with all the pros. He's going to be suffering from probably a loss of confidence throughout the race. These guys are going to be attacking. They're going to be overtaking him. He's going to be in a situation where he's constantly under pressure. And you've got guys like Andre Scheppers who are going to be coming through that field and trying to get a good result here. So I do get this sinking feeling that Silver might be in a bad situation today, but we shall see. If Andre Scheppers and the other Pro-Am drivers can sort of look after their tyres and make steady progress through the field, they've got a real shot at getting up towards where Silver is at. And this is the thing, if we see a single accident here, we're in sort of trouble. Also note that the guys in AM class are all doing really well to be right there together on the field, so they're going to have a pretty epic battle today. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what the AM class guys are going to do today.
It's going to be good. Obviously Boyd as well there, and well, can Silver pole position in the Pro-Am, like you said, can Silver get gold here in the sprint race? That is the question. Barton and Sheppers as well. And what is happening out here on track? The drivers are just in the pit lane. Are they having another driver's briefing? George, what is going on here? We're just waiting to get underway.
Who knows? Filler content is what we're going to have to do until then. We can talk at length, of course, about the season so far and the track that we're at today. Let us know, of course, in chat if you've got any questions ahead of the event tonight. It's going to be very interesting to see who you guys think is going to be on top. So put your predictions in chat. Let us know who you think is going to get a good position today, and I tell you what, that reverse grid is going to be super, super exciting. What we're hoping is that we're in the interval 1 area right now, 5-minute break while the sprint race qualifying order gets all sorted out. There's a lot of work for the admins to do in the background to get the qualifying order accurately entered. And then, of course, they've got to do a little bit of a reset on the session so that we can actually get into the sprint race. But at the end of the day, Trev, if I'm a driver right now, I'm happy. Give me extra time. I can look at my setup. I can look at who I'm going to be starting around. I can be thinking about that first corner. You know, the entry into that, you're going to be side by side with at least 1 car, hopefully not 2. Sometimes 3, seen that before, 4 wide. Usually ends up with 2 people off each side of the track, 1 crashing and the other surviving somehow. But we'll see. Small delays like this when we're in the special format, not something that's unexpected at the end of the day. Server is up, and we should hopefully be getting back in relatively soon. So that might be something we need to double check. Server will be there in a few minutes' time. While you try and have a little look at that, I'm going to read out a few comments from chat. Maxi saying, so who gets P10 or pole for the race with the eyes? So we did find out, of course, it's going to be Simon Bishop in P10. And you'll have to remind me, of course, Trev, who the man who's now going to be on pole position is. I've got Evening Gentleman from Maxi as well. Stone Harbour jumping in saying, hey, hello. Nitro's mum is in the chat saying, good luck, Raiden. Conquer the mountain. Duster saying, Nitro. Nitro saying, ha ha ha, cheers, mum. And Stone Harbour saying, Silver sounds confident. I hope he just keeps it for a long time. Excellent stuff. And welcome into those in chat on TrackSpotTV as well. Jimbo saying, hey Trev, KPL Baseman saying hello. And what are we seeing tonight? Some Kung Fu? We shall see.
Absolutely. Aiden Holton as well. Machin and Silver, your top 3. Reverse top 10, of course, coming up for the first of the sprint races. And we do have all of the drivers just getting in to the new service, so it won't be too long before we get underway, but great to see the interaction. Keep your comments coming in throughout the course of the evening. We've got a slight 2-minute shorter formation lap 2 this evening, which is understandable with the track over 6 kilometres. We want to get underway as soon as we can.
Yeah, full formation lap at Bathurst is kind of evil, if I'm honest with you. It's very, very annoying. I've actually seen multiple people spin, trying to keep their tyres up to speed, up to temperature, and then through the dipper, people making small mistakes at the beginning, which, you know, it's just, at the end of the day, you really need to have these short formation laps. So we've got that for both the sprint and the feature race tonight, which is going to make for a much shorter, much more pleasant, get back into the action kind of atmosphere here today, which I think is the right way to play it. Yeah, trundling around a 6.2 kilometer circuit at 80 k's an hour or so is not a lot of fun. It's a very, very long time to build up the nerves.
Absolutely, as we are just counting down, of course, towards the end of this free practice session. We can see always a handy time to get some extra track time in, as we see the young man, Adam Elzine there, just the youngest driver, we believe, in this championship. Just a teenager, of course, but he is very, very quick indeed. And we've seen him on ACC and GT7 as well, doing some fantastic things. As we are ready to go racing here, you can see there will not be the long formation lap. We want to get to bed this evening, but you can see the countdown has begun, and it will be Aidan Holton, of course, James Matchin, Max Silver. That is a very impressive top three. Nick Carter, Matt Donetti, Braden Henderson impressed with his work so far this evening. Josh Struick, Matt Simmons, Simon Bishop, Cam Fleming in 7th there. And the first of the Ferraris starting outside that top 10, of course, James Barton, and then Sheppers behind him. As we can see, Boyd, Stewart and Takax as well. No Tanner this evening, of course, so he is out of the AM class. But these drivers, and don't forget, 32 cars around this Mount Panorama circuit is going to be scary, and they always talk about you can't win the race at the first corner, but you can always lose it at the first corner, as I'm sure a famous driver said many years ago.
Many famous drivers have said this, I'm sure, or repeated the words from the one famous driver. Nonetheless, yeah, you can go ping-pong here quite easily and play some of those old DOS-based games with your car against the barrier. Not a lot of fun. Interesting weather that we've got today. We've got slight overcast, but sunny out on track. Optimum conditions, of course. 27 degrees air temperature, 32 on track. So this is going to be a tire killer today. And that wind, 2 kilometers an hour in the reverse direction. Keep an eye on how people fare through Forest Elbow and into the braking zone of Chase. There is a tailwind through that section. It's going to mean that they're going to have a little bit more grip through Hell Corner and up Griffin's Bend and through some of the mountain track, but that is not necessarily the most favorable wind direction. We're about to go racing. This is exciting. It's the TrackSpotTV Challenge, and my eye is going to be directly on Silver at the beginning of this race. It's really going to be interesting to see how long he can hold on. Will Simmons and Bishop and Struick be able to make their way through this field quickly or not? Does Barton have a chance at a top 10 finish today?
Well, anything is possible, of course, as we get ready to go racing. 30 minutes for this first sprint race, of course. Reverse top 10. And look at James Matchin getting very racy there. Right next to Aidan Holton here starting. It is BMW, Mustang, Mercedes, ready to get this one underway. We're ready. We hope you are at home as well. It's round 6. The TrackSpotTV Challenge is underway for the 30-minute sprint race here as they all stream down into turn 1. Down through Hell Corner they go. And it all looks clean at this stage, but Holton maintains the lead from the rolling start there. And Silver, has he got up to second? I believe he has. Great stuff there from Max Silver in the Pro-Am class. And then it is 2 Mustangs line astern. A slight moment there for Aidan Holton, but fingers crossed they've all got away cleanly so far.
Decent start, a lot of cars very slow at Hell Corner, of course, a real concertina effect happening. Now we go up the hill for the first time. Great work by the Mercedes driver. Silver is absolutely flying right now, putting a huge amount of pressure on Holton. You can't overtake through here, so he's got to be careful which line he decides to take through this section. A little bit of paint exchange with the barrier from the Ford of Matchin. And now we go through into Reed Park and Suleiman. This is great territory here, but with these colder tyres, you've got to be a little bit more conservative, a little bit careful the first time you dive down here. Skyline, that Mercedes rear end not looking particularly locked in, but he's handling it well, is the Pro-Am driver.
Absolutely. BMW, Mercedes, Mustang. Is there any team orders there? I don't think so between Carter and Matchin, as we see them all streaming around. Donetti there as well behind them. Fleming, Simmons, Henderson as well. Matty Simmons making some moves. Simon Bishop there biding his time as we've got some yellow flags. And who is that? I don't believe it.
Oh,
Simon Bishop, car number 1. He's trying the old Austin Powers 3-point turn there. Look at this. Who would have thought? Simon Bishop right down to the back in the sprint race here.
Oh, he had to make overtakes happen, but he's tried it in an awkward location. Might have got squiggly. We didn't catch that on camera. But boy, oh boy, that is a disaster for him, and his chances of getting into the top 10 now maybe gone in this very short sprint race. A disaster for the man who's chasing after the Pro Championship at the moment. BCG1 will be absolutely gutted with that at this early stage of the race. Boyd still leading us away in AM class at the moment. He's actually moved up to 28th position, so he had a good start off the line in the McDonald's liveried BMW, and now trying to chase down the Pro-Am Mercedes driver of Sinclair in 26th position. So good start for them. We're going to have some side-by-side second lap here at Bathurst. We've already had a major upset right at the top of the grid. That's going to be good news for Simmons and Stewart, though.
Absolutely, and boy, it's going to put their mind at ease as we see now. You can see here Boyd looking to make some moves up the hill and up Mountain Straight now towards Quarry Bend. Is he going to... it's not Quarry Bend, is it there? It's Scott. I'm looking at the wrong map, I beg your pardon. But look how close it is right throughout the classes, except Max Silver. He's in a class of his own, isn't he? And not too far off the overall lead here. And he's only a few tenths behind Aiden Holton. Nick Carter as well, but looking through the field. Shepard's there in P2, of course, in the Pro-Am class. And they're all very well behaved, aren't they, as they all climb the mountain on lap 2.
Yeah, not too bad. Shepard's obviously got a good way very, very nicely. Now in 10th place with Simon Bishop dropping down the order. Barton, though, he was second in Pro-Am. Didn't have a good start. He's been overtaken by Shepard. So two people with the S at the beginning of their name overtaking Barton early on. The Ferrari not looking as comfortable as he needs to be. You see the gap there between the Mercedes of Shepard and Shepard's Mercedes of his number 22 is starting to really eke out, as is the gap between P1 and P2. So Silver, he's not able to hold on to Holton at this stage. Carter and Machin are going to start making some progress, and right behind them, the Neddy, Fleming, Simmons, Henderson, Struick right there, and they're going to be taking advantage. Struick, though, has fallen to 9th.
What has happened there? He's tucked in behind Braden Henderson, of course, as Manny Simmons with the fastest lap of this race. And we're only on lap 2 now. As you can see, Holton still leads overall. Silver in P2 there, 5 tenths further back, so maintaining that gap. As you can see, Struick there tucked in behind Henderson. Is he close enough to have a go here? I don't believe so. Griffin's Bend. It is Griffin's Bend. What on earth am I talking about? I've done enough laps around here, beg your pardon. As we see now, Struick, difficult, and these Mustangs are very difficult to tame, especially in the confined spaces of this middle sector here at Mount Panorama. Very close indeed. You can see Simmons and Fleming. Any team orders here?
Yeah, multi-21, let's get on with it. No, I don't think so. At the end of the day, these chaps are going to have to go racing, and working together here is really important. If you can sort of encourage your teammate, which is what Simmons needs to do. As we see a massive accident ahead, it's Silver. Silver is gone, and he's caused a huge pile-up at the top of Skyline.
I think Struick might have gone with him there. As we see, there's a lot of damage to that number 75 car. Is that Struick stranded at the top of the mountain? Back into the pits goes Silver, and it is Struick, and he is stranded. And let me tell you, if there's ever a place you want to be facing the wrong way with all those cars coming at you, it's not at that particular part of this circuit.
Oh, so something's happened to Silver there. He's bounced off the barrier. He's held the brakes, but there's been too much momentum in the car. It's brought him right back into the braking zone at the top of Skyline, which is so high speed, and there's nothing that Struick was able to do. He had to barrel straight on into the side of that Mercedes. Big accident, and another upset here at Bathurst at the top of the mountain this time. 2 more cars gone. Elevates Shepard into the top 10, puts Barton into the top 10, so 2 Pro-Am drivers in. But I'm gutted for Silver. I don't know what's happened, but based on the trajectory he was on, I suspect he's probably put his tyres onto the grass on the exit of Suleiman just as they're coming up towards the braking zone into Skyline, and it's gone left, it's gone right, he's counter-steered, and it's gone straight into that barrier.
Oh, unbelievable. It's the cathedral of Aussie motorsport, but it is one of the most demanding, if not the most demanding track on the ACC calendar. Let's just take our breaths, everybody, with 23 minutes still remaining in this first sprint race here. Don't go anywhere, of course. We've got the feature race coming your way as well, but Holton leads in the pro class as well. Nick Carter, just 5 tenths. As you can see, the gap, nothing there. Second and third. No, of course, sign of multi-21, and I'm sure they'll have protection as usual, and that's the way it goes. But we see Matt Donetti there in 4th in the BMW. We've got a trio of BMWs, Fleming and Simmons as well. Teammates there, Henderson, Shepard, with the large green aerial at the top of that car. Asked Isaac about that last week, and he didn't know what that was all about. But Shepherd and Barton as well, not too far behind him. P2 overall in the Pro-Am class. This James Barton character, a red Ferrari, always gets the attention. And you can see there, he's in P2 in class overall, but it's consistency around this circuit where we know that the egos can get trimmed very, very quickly. But he's doing well there, P2 overall in his class and inside the top 10 overall.
You know, that looks like mahogany to me. I don't know, maybe my eyes are slightly... it doesn't look like a Ferrari red. Come on, let's all be honest with ourselves. Maybe the graphics aren't doing it justice, but to my eyes, that's mahogany. It's a slightly deeper, more cultured red than just racing red. Either way, fantastic looking car. Hasn't got much on the way of decals on the side of it, but doesn't matter. One thing I note though, Trev, that 27 car, the Mercedes of Shepherd, currently got damage on the front of that car, so he's not going to be having the best time out there. Big error requirements at this track, and if you do pick up that damage, it really is game over. And you can see he's already losing a lot of pace, not able to really take the apex speed through Hell Corner. This is going to be a chance for Barton if he can really tuck into that slipstream. And bear in mind, there's Tame right behind them, followed by Piper, Hutton. There's some really quick guys who are coming up on the back of this battle. So opportunity for Barton. Needs to make this overtake happen, ideally in the next couple of laps before this other pack starts to catch up.
Oh, it's going to be if not when. When not if you know what I'm trying to say. But we can see here Ryan Tame, possibly a relation of Liam Tame, who's not racing tonight. He's in for CP Racing in the Aston. Yellow flags are out, but it could be those yellow flags, George, that we see when drivers come in to the pit lane. But look how close they are to the walls. You can see there's a little bit of extra paint taken off the sides of these cars. Breathe in as they come over the mountain. There is Tame, Piper as well in the 81 Mercedes AMG car as we wait for our race director to catch up. And this is where it gets very tricky. The Mercedes does not like this middle part of the circuit, and he's almost off. Take a breath.
Yeah, it's the nature of these FR cars, all that weight loaded over the front. He's got it all wrong coming into Forest Elbow. Has there been an accident? I think they might have made contact there. And that was a huge send up the inside, but it wasn't for an overtake. It was the car's rear end getting unstabilized. Through goes the Aston Martin of Tame, the number 13. He is right in that slipstream. He is slurping it up at the moment, using it to maximum effect. And this is going to be side by side through the kink and towards the chase. Oh, Tame and Barton, Tame and Piper want to go again, but it looks like this is going to be the Aston Martin sealing the deal here. It is. So there we go. On we go through. Two Aston Martins in that fact, Hutton and Tame. And it is, I believe, Hutton that has come out on top in that battle. But look at the concertina effect that's happening. Big accident, and that is a tap down the inside. The number 100 Ferrari Hurley has tapped one of our other competitors there and sent him into the shadow roll.
And look at the damage on that car, and he's having another go down into turn one. It's getting very busy. Peak hour sort of style there, as you can see. Look how close this train of cars. I've just been reliably informed that Ryan Tame is no relation of Liam Tame, so they made more than one, as that is fantastic. We can see this battle is difficult to take our eyes off of, but give me an A, give me an M, give me an AM class leader, and that is Mr. Worldwide Matthew Boyd in P1 in the AM class, as here he is now. Look at this, very close with Simon Bishop. And if you were in Matthew Boyd's shoes, do you just let a Simon Bishop go and leave him to do his own thing while you fight your own battles?
Simple answer there, yes, absolutely. When you see a faster driver coming on through, you get out of the way. Don't do it the way that I've done in the past, though. When I saw a leader coming on through who had a crash early on, I decided to get out of the way just before the dipper. Wrong place, wrong kind of decision making. Learned a lot that day. Got scolded a little bit by the race admins as well. So Boyd doing a good job getting out of the way. Got Griffin behind 0.3 of a second, so there will be a little bit of a battle happening between these two in relatively short order. Pro-Am driver, of course, Griffin. So he will be coming up behind that McDonald's livery car and probably getting pretty hungry, I have to admit. Temperature is coming down. It's now 31 degrees Celsius on track with 18 minutes still to go. Boy, we've had some good shake-ups so far. Great racing that I've seen out on track.
Yeah, I'm loving it. that McDonald's car there, but Griffin there not too far back, of course. Stewart, ooh, a little bit twitchy there. And now we've got Takax in the other Fogarty Motorsport Junior car. Is that a McDonald's? So the front of that car not looking in great shape at all. A little bit out of shape there. Struick now, of course, is well down the field, and DeWitt is in the Ferrari all on his own. And the positive thing is that we can see Max Silva is back out there on the circuit. And despite the fact that we've only got 70 minutes left, he's out on the track circulating. So all 32 drivers out there going around this circuit. And of course, the way the championship points are dished out, still very important to finish the race, or 75% of it, so you get those important championship points.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, this is set in the qualifying order, so if there's any positions you can gain, it is really important to do so. Simon Bishop already making some good progress. He's had a little bit more time out there to regain the positions than Silva and the man that he crashed into earlier on. Holton's still leading us away, and yeah, it is very close. Carter not letting him get away with anything today. See the different lines they're taking into the skyline. A little bit of a wider line for the BMW, whereas the Ford just looks a lot more stable. And I was going to make a comment about this. You know, the FR cars, especially the likes of the Mercedes, the rear end is just so loose around the mountain, especially when you go through the Dipper and over Skyline. The rear end just doesn't want to have any part of it. So you've got to be lifting off the throttle, generally quite slow through that section of track. The Ford looks quite pinned at the minute, as does the BMW for the most part. But skilled drivers at the top, they know how to take that area. And they're taking it very, very skillfully at the moment. 16 minutes to go, and there's still some opportunities. I think, yeah, back here, this is exactly right. Fleming, Simmons, Henderson in a bit of a battle, but I tell you what, Carter's got an opportunity coming his way.
Absolutely, as we can see here, Fleming and Matthew Simmons not too far behind him. Oh, Matt Simmons is faster than you. Remember those famous words over the team radio between Alonso and Massa back at Hockenheim, I believe, many, many years ago. But I'm sure that they will not be talking about that. That's for sure down there, as you can see now. Oh, look at this. Simon Bishop also continuing well down the field still, but he's continuing the comeback trail. And I can tell you now, BCG2, no love lost here between these two. Cameron Fleming and Matty Simmons in the M4 GT3 BMW. Let's continue, shall we, to go through the order. It's Mercedes with Henderson, then Sheppers in the 22 Mercedes there, getting very close, and then Shepherd. Oh, look at that. So close to the walls, and James Barton has dropped back. So James Barton not taking full advantage of a little bit of damage on the Mercedes car ahead of him, and he's sitting P2 in his particular class, of course. P10 overall. Oh, geez, I don't know what it is with that camera angle, but it is hard to even breathe when you see the drivers coming over the top of the mountain. And now Hutton, look at this. Ryan Tame right behind him, no relation, of course, but look how close these two are out on circuit.
This is going to be a battle, and they were obviously involved in that battle a few laps ago. See grass kicked up as they come down through Skyline. Tricky place. Two Aston Martins versing each other. They are making progress on Barton. Now that gap between Barton and Shepherd up to 1.7 seconds. 4 seconds for Shepherd up towards Sheppers, who we do need to talk about in a few moments' time. But all clip of the wall there for Tame. It's not going to be the best run down the hill. He won't have an opportunity this time out. And this is where the tyre life is starting to come against these drivers, and especially if you're in the slipstream, you're just going to notice that drip dropping away and dropping away. I do also wonder for Barton, he's actually closed the gap by about 0.2 of a second in the last couple of corners. Ferrari going to be fast out of the last parts of this lap. I tell you what, he is probably going to be pretty happy with a P10 at the moment, second in class. I wouldn't be on the attack, to be honest, even if there's an opportunity. Why risk it?
Absolutely, maintain the gap. Is the message coming from George Cooke here. You can see the Ferrari continuing on there, just managing that gap. We've got Sinclair into the pits, not sure what's happening there, but we've got a Matthew Boyd there in the 79 BMW. That is not the line you usually take through the chase there, is it? That looked very wrong indeed.
It is not indeed. We had a yellow flag out on track. I think it was the 24 car, might have been Takax. up the hill, and the leaders are actually approaching this location. Oh dear, that is a car that is not in optimum condition at all. Can he turn it? Yes, he can. But this is very scary territory because we've got the pack of 10 or 8 or so leaders coming up rapidly on this man, and he is going to be in an awkward spot when they catch him. He needs to pull it off the racing line right now, but he's going to be right in the middle of the apex as they're approaching very, very quickly. Oh, he's right in the middle. He's caused a huge accident.
Oh my
That's a
goodness.
disaster. Takax has put himself right in the middle of the road, and a huge disaster. There's still accidents going on at the top. Who survived and who hasn't? That is the number 30. The number 98 is round and gone. That's Holton, former race leader.
Wow. And Simmons as well. This is terrible. Cars going off everywhere. I don't want to put any blame on anybody, but ooh, gee whiz, that is going to be an interesting one for the stewards. I think there's possibly half a dozen cars there having their races ruined because we just jumped on board, didn't we, with Takax there. Could he have just stayed offline in the runoff area or come back to the pits a little bit earlier? And we've got to have that awareness there, don't you, when the leaders are coming up on you very quick, especially around here.
Yeah, look, I hate to say it, but that is 100% on Takax. He shouldn't have been on the racing line. He got caught at a very awkward spot. Admittedly, he was trying, I think, to stay out of the way. But once you come through that last part at McPhillamy Park, there is no runoff. And those guys in the top 10 they were close. They were racing hard. And he's ended up right smack in the middle of them. It looks like Holton ended up trying to go right, ended up off track. Matchin was the lucky one and went the left, as was Matt Denetti, who managed to get ahead of him. And then there was a whole bunch of more cars that got involved because you've got slow cars, you've got cars that are stopped in the middle of the track, and then everyone was taking the diversion road at Skyline just to avoid the chaos that happened. And yeah, I hate to say it. I mean, Takax, this one 100% his fault. He should have been off the racing line, stopped before McPhillamy Park, should have been resetting that to the pits. At the end of the day, we've just had a huge switch up in the lead, and Holton is going to be absolutely fuming.
Well, I wouldn't be going back into the paddock, that's for sure, as we see for the young man Takax, because look at this though. We've got Carter and Matchin. And gee, it's been a complete reset, hasn't it, at the top of the order there? It's incredible, isn't it? Lap 9 of this race. It's changed up the whole race entirely, hasn't it? Right throughout not only the overall top 10, but right throughout the classes as well. Because now we've got Sheppers and Barton, and there's another car off here in the worst possible area.
Oh dear, who is that? That is Sheppers. So Sheppers has had a problem and now he's been overtaken, so he's no longer the leader of Pro-Am class. He's also made a huge mistake and he's awkwardly trundling around the top as Simon Bishop makes it on through as well. That is a disaster for Sheppers. I'm gutted. But yeah, so he was formerly in the top 10. Now it's Barton out of nowhere with Henderson ahead of him, Tame just behind him, who's been catching over the last few laps. So yellows all the way around the track at the moment, 9 minutes 20 left in this race. And if we had made a prediction about the top 10 and how they were going to finish, it would not have been this. Denetti 2.7 seconds ahead, followed by Matchin and Carter, who are battling on track. Then it's Fleming in P4, 6 seconds behind that battle. Henderson, Barton, Tame, Piper, Green, and Hutton now finds himself in second for Pro-Am.
Unbelievable. Well, okay, we'll try and take a second to just let that sink in. You can see Gray there in a podium position, fighting with joy in the Mercedes. We see them streaming around there, and Simon Bishop has cracked the top 20 overall. As you can see, he's continuing on after a dreadful start for him. Makes his incident seem pretty minor, doesn't it, considering what we've seen more recently. But 8.5 minutes remaining in this race, and it is Stewart leading the AM class as well. I believe Boyd is in the pits, and Takax out of the question, so it could be an easy victory here for Ian Stewart, which will help his championship, of course, in the AM class.
Yeah, that's right. This is huge. He's been trundling along nicely. I said this at the beginning of the race, a lot of Bathurst is about staying out of the action, and when you're following closely with another car, I tell you, it is a tricky zone. You're starting to, you know, push that risk a little bit towards the high risk area. So the investors start to get worried. The people who have to repair the car afterwards start to get worried. You should start to get worried as a driver as well. But Ian Stewart, it's just been consistent. It's been clean. He's had a little bit of air throughout there. He's fair distance back from Nicholson at this point and just needs to finish the race. He'll be starting in P22, which is a marked improvement over where he qualified. So really good stuff. I like to see consistency out on track. At the end of the day, if you can't make the overtakes, if you don't have the pace, just make sure you're surviving throughout this circuit.
Absolutely. It's well, it has become all about survival in this first race of the evening. 60-minute feature race coming up. Shepherd's and Holton Sinclair in the pits. We might just recap here as well because Matt Donetti holds a very handsome lead as one of the Mercedes cars comes back out of a pit lane there. James Matchin and Nick Carter. Now, how do they approach this? Are they going to just hold station here? Let's wait and see for TTR because they're 8.5 seconds ahead of Cam Fleming in the number 7 at BMW. Are they going to do, there's no funny business going on here. Are they just going to finish maybe for the cameras second and third overall? We'll wait and see. I'm sure Carter, though, he's a racer and he won't want to be sitting behind his teammate there for TTR Westside. And this team finishing in P2, of course, in Season 1, both pro drivers. And, well, they're just looking very nice for the cameras there. You can see P2 and P3. But Cam Fleming in 4th overall. And Henderson, very impressed with this man in the 877 Mercedes. He's currently P5 here in this first race. And he's getting very close to Fleming in P4.
Certainly is. I do want to remind everyone, of course, we have a feature race coming up. So this is not the end of the world for those who have had crashes today. Let these things happen. This is Bathurst, and when you put 32 drivers on the grid for 30 minutes, things like this are going to happen. But at the end of the day, yeah, we've got to remind ourselves that there's another 60-minute race coming up. And this is just the redefining the qualifying order for the feature race. We'll have a break before then for everyone to calm down, cool down just a little bit, grab a drink, and then reset and get their head right for a 60-minute race. And we hope that we see some cleaner situations. And there we go, Henderson with a move at the chase. That is textbook stuff.
Beautiful stuff. Look at that, a textbook move there through the chase. And can Fleming come back? A little bit of damage on that BMW. And of course, what a track this is, Mount Panorama. You don't win Bathurst. Bathurst lets you win. I've got plenty more where that came from, let me tell you. But 5 minutes remaining in this race. Can Fleming come back? That is going to be the interesting question here. There's a Mercedes just ahead of them as well. And we might continue through here because Piper is right up behind Tame. And this is getting very serious here. Trying to break the slipstream is Tame, and he might be too far back on this occasion. Let's have a look at some of the other battles going on. Well, this is very hectic indeed. Look how close all of this lot are. You can see there we've got Pro and Pro-Am drivers going at it. And Lee there in the Ferrari doing very nicely there indeed to keep Nicholson at bay. And then Stewart is across the line. He's winning, but Shepherd with a stop-go 30 penalty. I believe that was the car we might have seen in the background coming out of the lane, and he's fallen foul of the stewards there, and a stop-go 30. Is that going to affect him too much? I'm not quite sure. I think, well, he's still got to come in, doesn't he, with 4 minutes to go. Has he got 3 laps, I believe, to serve that penalty?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think at the end of the day, he'll just take that at the end of the race. There's no point in coming in at this stage and trying to go out because you'll be on essentially a last lap anyway. So might as well just take that one. Depending on when he got it, if he got it a couple of laps ago, he'll need to take that this lap. If he's just gotten that coming out of the pits a few moments ago, this lap, then I think he can just carry that to the end. Boyd's probably far enough behind that he doesn't need to worry too much about it overall. Bishop in P17 and Simmons in P14. So that's where these guys are after their mistakes, and probably, I don't know, I want to say would have wanted to fare your luck a little bit in that large accident we had over the top of the hill, as opposed to the mistake that he made coming through the exit of the dipper and in the Forest Elbow. But Bishop has made good progress, but Simmons holding on to P14. Is it going to be an overtake here? Oh, the number 5 tries to close off the inside line, does get a little bit wide. Simon Bishop reads it beautifully and through he goes. Another nice overtake from this man and moves up to 16th. So Les Samworth is dispatched there by the man who is second in the Pro Championship category for BCG1, with, of course, that #1 slapped very boldly over the side of the car. Got a little bit of action happening up front as well. Looks like that is Piper. No, that is an overtake that we've had just come on through. But I tell you what, Trev, with 2.5 minutes now to go, that's going to be a couple of laps left for these guys. It's now or never. Tame has made the move.
He has. Incredible there. Tame has got through there in the Aston. And, well, no relation to Liam Tame, as we've learned here this evening. But that is a fantastic move. And, wow, we've seen the mountain take a few souls here this evening, as it so often does. But I've got to say, this Tame chap doing very nicely. But Piper is still up close. Ooh, you don't want to be too close through there, as we see the walls closing in on you. But not too long. Oh, my goodness. It's just one of those things where you want to look away, but you can't stop watching, if you know what I'm trying to say. But look at this, Piper and Tame. This is going to go right down to the wire, isn't it, with a couple of minutes remaining or less there.
Yeah, give me a photo finish. I absolutely love to see it. This is aggressive driving from the 81, but it's safe. It's psychological base. It's trying to put Tame off. It's trying to keep him close so that he can nail this exit through Forest Elbow and get a really good slipstream run down the hill and towards the chase. So this is excellent driving by him. I don't know if he's got the run that he really needed to try and make an overtake on the Aston, which has got great top speed at a circuit like this. And it looks like the setup is pretty well done for top speed. He is getting closer, though. This might be an opportunity. Tame goes defensive down the inside. Piper's going to go even more aggressive. Does manage to make it work, but actually forces Tame off the track. And that is probably going to go to the steward's office. It's not the cleanest overtake that's ever happened. Tame had to turn in at some point. And unfortunately for Piper there, he was a little bit wide at the apex. Tame probably could have given him more room, but this is battling. I'm going to counter your philosophical streak there with the race winnings, that you don't win Bathurst, you survive it.
Absolutely, and that's for sure. The mountain can take its toll on some of these drivers. But this is just a little bit of a teaser, isn't it, for the... we might get back to... Ooh, hello. Teammates there, and you see Piper and Tame. It was just like being in the supermarket, wasn't it, when you get someone aggressively push past you with a trolley and you're not quite sure, you're taking it back and you're not quite sure how to respond, and you just think, I'll get him next time in the next aisle. But counting down now, 15, 14, 13 seconds remaining in this one. Which way is this going to go? Here is our overall race leader. Well, after all of the drama, all of the tension around this mountain, every lap around here is a battle, isn't it? The mountain is the one who decides who survives, but it looks like Matt Donetti is going to get it done. But we don't want to talk too soon as he comes down Conrod Straight for the final time.
Turns out fourth place is a good place to start, because he was able to avoid all the chaos that happened at the top of the mountain when we had Takax and a number of the top 10 involved in a huge incident that really reshuffled the grid, and Donetti survived that beautifully. It doesn't look like he's got a scratch of damage on the car. He's not the name that I thought we'd be seeing at the top here. We know he's quick, but he is the Pro Championship leader. Does make a little bit of mistake at the end, as we see another car having some problems at Murray's Bend. Does get going again. It's one of the McDonald's cars, but this is going to be it. The 51 across the line. Top stuff.
Great stuff across the line. Matt Donetti wins the sprint race. I tell you what, I had flashbacks there of that McDonald's car. Let me tell you, we've seen them, unfortunately, for all the wrong reasons. Matchin and Carter crossing the line for the TTR photographers there, and Henderson comes across as well. P4 overall, but James Barton, let me just give him a little bit of an applause here, please. Thank you for James Barton taking the race win in Pro-Am. Fleming, Piper across the line, getting ahead of Tame there in the end. And then it's Hutton as we continue to go down the field. Checkered flags out everywhere. But Ian Stewart, let's bring this man home in the AM class. A fantastic performance. And this is going to be very important for his championship battle.
Absolutely. Yeah, a great drive at the end of the day. He survived the mountain and he deserves the victory in AM class today. It's just got a couple of corners more to navigate. They're easy corners, these ones, compared to what we've experienced over the top of the hill, but he'll be happy he'll be taking home some points, and he'll be starting in P20 in this race. Going to be tricky with the repaired cars of the likes of Shepard, Struick, Silver, Holton, Elzine, Sinclair, all going to be behind him at the beginning of this race. So while we do give him congratulations on a good race, he has got some tricky, tough, long work to do in the feature race coming up.
Absolutely. There we go. The final results are on your screen. Wow, what a hectic opening race there. Overall, there are the results. Matt Donetti winning quite comfortably in the end, actually, from the two TTR cars of Matchin and Carter. And then Henderson coming home in P4 a little bit further back. You can see the intervals there on your screen. And then Barton winning in his class there. You can see James Barton winning the Pro-Am class, and then Hutton in at P2. We've lost the results there on your screen, but what a hectic opening race. And of course, for Bathurst, well, we'd expect nothing less, would we, around this circuit? And if we thought that 30 minutes was crazy enough, well, guess what? We've got another 60 minutes coming right your way.
Exactly, yeah. We've got another interval that's going to happen, another 5 minutes or so, just to reset the grid, reset the server, and get ourselves ready for this feature race. And this will be a welcome bit of breathing room for everyone on track. We only lost a couple of degrees Celsius in terms of temperature on the track, so really conditions didn't shift at all, which is good for consistent racing for the most part. Does mean that no one gets an advantage throughout the race or can take advantage of the changing weather. But yeah, I mean, look, we've seen some unnecessary accidents today, I think is going to be my comment on that. Accidents that could have been avoided. We would have had a very different grid at the top were that the case. I'm not going to point too many fingers here at the end of the day, but you know, blue flags around here, not easy to deal with at the end of the day, and especially if you're the one, you know, with damage, you're on track somewhere. There is a lot of this circuit that you just can't do anything about it, and once you're there, you're a sitting duck, and unfortunately, so are the cars who are coming through. You know, we're hitting 240, 250 kilometers an hour over some parts of the mountain at the top, and you know, if you're in the way, these cars can't slow down in a hurry. That is for sure. 60 minutes though. What I'm hoping is that everyone resets, takes a little bit of a moment, and then just got to consider the fact that this is a longer race. I've got a little bit of work to do in terms of the strategy as well. You know who you're going to be racing against once again. So time to really just take it a bit easy and start to have a think about what you need to do going forward, and mistakes that maybe were made, or the way that other people are driving out on track. Donetti is in a great position. I think we had Simon Bishop and Simmons somewhere in the somewhere between P20 and P10. We've got Struick, who's further down the field. So there's an opportunity for these drivers who we know should be really up there in the top 5 to come back through this race. They've just got to survive the first few opening laps, execute the strategy properly, and they should be making some progress.
Absolutely, as we can see there, plenty happening. I'm sure we'll unpack that throughout the course of the week. A big hello to everybody, of course, as always, in the comments across YouTube, going to Twitch and YouTube tonight. Matty Simmons 12th and Bishop 13th there as well. So yeah, going to be interesting to see how they go in the second race. We do have a short break, of course, before we get underway for the feature race here, and a chance for the drivers to reset. And like we've been talking about, George, from race 1, it's a good chance for drivers to come back if they've had a disappointing run in race 1. They've got an opportunity, don't they, to, it's a bit like the sprint rounds, you can always come back in that second race of the evening and at least take something out of the week, and something to take into the following week as well. But it's a good chance for these drivers, like I said, to reset here, and we've got a few faces. Ryan Tame as well for CP Racing. He looked very racy out there in the sprint race. He's potentially one to keep an eye on here in race 2.
I think so, and he's in the Aston as well, which is a good machine at this track when it's tuned correctly. Good top speed, relatively good through the apexes as well. Gets the turn in nicely if you get those camber angles just spot on, and get those anti-roll bars just right at the front. Tricky to set up sometimes, but when you get it right, it can really go very, 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 very well. The Aston Martin, one of the best sounding cars, I think, on the grid as well. Some people will argue that that's not the case, but it's just that popping sound that the engine makes when you upshift and downshift. Something about it. Very, very special. Rings very nicely with my ears. I do want to take this opportunity to, obviously call out Trev and Isaac, who've been doing incredible work in the commentary box. I get to take the reins for a second here as the CEO of TrackSpotTV. Big thanks to AGT ACC for essentially putting us as a sponsor for round 6. Real pleasure to be here for Bathurst, probably one of the more exciting places to come racing in a season, especially for this format, which has thrown so many curveballs around, and pleasure to be here as TrackSpotTV. Pleasure to be representing ourselves and bringing AGT ACC to life for season 2. And yeah, at the end of the day, this is the race that I've been waiting for this season.
Absolutely, it's great. We've got to be on our best behaviour, everybody, of course. The boss is along with us. Just recapping, if you are just joining us, hello to you, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you're watching. But Matt Donetti there in the pro class taking the win in the end over James Matchin and Nick Carter, as well as James Barton taking the Pro-Am win. He minded his own business, did James Barton, in the Ferrari, and took the win in the it wasn't a red car, I think you called it something else, but we'll leave that for now. But Hutton there second and Gray in third, whilst Ian Stewart, he took an easy win in the end, didn't he? That's never an easy win around this Mount Panorama circuit, but I believe he was the only car in the AM class that was running at the end of that race. And well, George, that's all you need to do really is survive this circuit, or it lets you survive it, if you know what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah, sometimes you fall into a result like that, and as I said before, it's nothing that this is not a criticism at all, or me trying to say that he doesn't have the skill or anything like that. He certainly does. But sometimes you do fall into these positions, and it's nice to be out there at Bathurst, just not racing anyone. Every time I seem to get out on track at Bathurst, I seem to be locked in some epic struggle, stressing out, sweating into the sim racing seat, and all that sort of good stuff. And it's stressful. I find it very, very stressful. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely love it. But sometimes you just wish for a quiet race and a good result. Well, that's what Ian Stewart got today. So I'd argue that at the end of the day, he's been in the right place at the right time. He's driven incredibly well throughout the day, and deserves that result. Starting P20 too. I think that's really, really good. But big commiserations to those who've been involved in accidents today. Some self-inflicted, some not. I think Holton is going to be driving with a bit of a red mist at the start. Well, let's hope it's a red mist of concentration and skill, and not one of aggression. But I'd be pretty frustrated if I was him right now.
Absolutely, and sometimes even when you are the only driver in your class, things can still happen as we get ready for the feature race. Now we do have the countdown, of course, underway here. Just a few seconds remaining before we head out to the circuit. The last chance for the drivers to compose themselves and get themselves together before the 1 hour feature race. And we are hearing that there's been a little bit of action between the sprint race and the feature race as well, and we're hearing that Tikax will not be taking part in the feature race as a result of that incident. So unfortunate for him, but I'm sure the young man can learn from that as we get ready to get underway. Another 2 minutes before we go racing, but here's a few names for you. Bishop, Simmons, Struick, Fleming. I'm not going to go through the rest of them, but then there's Matt Donetti there in P6 as well on row 3.
Exactly right. So this is, I got it slightly wrong if anyone was listening to me. It's not the sprint results are not the feature race qualifying. It is the qualifying, the original order from qualifying. So I got that ever so slightly wrong. So yeah, it does see Bishop back up at the top, Simmons in second. So these guys are going to get a second chance at the end of the day, and a real big second chance here. So not a complete disaster in the sprint race. It really just comes down to the points that they're going to earn. And yet again, my eye locks onto that 8th pace silver in Mercedes number 75. So he's got another shot at this one, and it's a big shot. That Mercedes is so difficult to drive over the top of the hill. We saw it come loose, and he ended up in a rather large accident early on. Well, not too early on, but sort of the middle of the way through the sprint race. So it's another big chance for him. Same conditions out there, sunny as anything, optimum 27 degrees in the atmosphere, 32 degrees on track with a slight wind change, slightly stronger wind at the beginning of this 1 hour race, and that is actually going to affect them down into Hell Corner. So that first corner is going to be absolutely key. This is an endurance setting though, Trev. They have got to change the mindset. It's not all about making positions up at this stage. Bishop certainly is going to be, you know, he's going to be very keen to take advantage of the fact that he's now placed on pole position. Got the result, of course, in qualifying. Ended up 10th for the sprint race with the reverse top 10. Now he's just got to batten down the hatches, drive like he knows he can drive, and he needs to finish well ahead of Matt Donetti today.
Absolutely, all important, of course, in the championship. We are across the halfway mark of this season. Big hello to everybody, of course, in the chat as well as we count down 3, 2, 1, 0. And it's always a tense moment, isn't it, waiting for these drivers to start their short formation lap, of course, because we don't want to put you through a full formation lap around this Mount Panorama circuit. But Bishop, Simmons, Struick and Fleming, your top 2 rows on the grid. It's tasty, isn't it? And we've got the boss along as well in George Cooke, all to enjoy this one. It's going to be the next 60 minutes. Get ready, get set. And as we get ready to go racing here, it's going to be an absolute cracker. As we are green, we are go. And once again, for the second time this evening, all of the drivers stream down into turn 1. And my goodness me, into Hell Corner they go. A little bit of action happening further back, but it's Bishop, Simmons and Struick making moves. He's not quite close enough. He's in a BMW sandwich there between Simmons and Fleming as they stream up Mountain Straight for the first time. They climb the mountain on lap 1. Bishop there looking a little bit nervous. Then it's Simmons, Struick, and is that Fleming looking to make moves down the inside there through Griffin's Bend?
I think we've got Silver, who tried his luck around the outside, actually lost a position as a result of trying to defend down the outside. So not a great start for him, but Struick now being the bottleneck here, as he's got Donetti right behind him. Not a comfortable thing to have at all. Henderson trying his luck, but so far, good race start, clean and conservative. That's what you need at the beginning of a 60-minute race. You don't want to be taking any crazy risks at the beginning of a race like this. Our focus now on the number 7. It is Fleming under pressure from the car behind, and down through Skyline we go for the first time. Tyres are cold yet again, so you've got to get this one right. Got to be a little bit conservative on the gas, got to be a bit conservative on the brake as we see a BMW get a little bit loose. Opportunity for Silver now. He's back up into 7th and putting pressure on Henderson.
Absolutely, you can see Henderson there continuing. Silver as well. No gaps at all, is there? There's there's an innocent polystyrene billboard there, and luckily that's the only victim, because that was very, very scary indeed. That is not the place you want to be going off the circuit there. As we'll continue through the order, Boyd leads in the AM class, as we can see there, Boyd making some moves, Griffin ahead of him, a couple of Ferraris ahead of him, Stewart there as well, our AM class winner from race 1. As we continue now to go through the order, a bit of grass getting kicked up there, always a concern, but Max Silver leads, but he's been passed here for P8 overall. Up to P7, down to P8 goes Silver. Then it's Holton, and of course it is the original qualifying session that we're going off these starting positions. It seems like a long time ago now, doesn't it? But anyway, as we go through lap 1 of this race, where do you want me to go, please, George, in the spectator mode here?
Stay right here, Holton. Trying his luck on the inside. He has made the move stick. He's holding onto that position beautifully, but look who's right there. Shepherd's wants a piece of this action as well. He's going to be driving ferociously, but right behind him, the Porsche of LZ, the youngest driver on the grid as far as we know, in the number 16 Porsche, right there in this battle. This is the battle for the top 10. And Holton's holding on. He held on beautifully, of course, in the sprint race until the accident at the top of the hill. Now he's got another opportunity, but does he have the pace to catch up? He's 2 seconds behind, or he's about 0.6 of a second behind Carter right now. Carter's got 2-second gap between him and Henderson. So a little bit of a bottleneck for the Ford right now, the 711, love that number. And Henderson starting to run away from these guys. Simmons still putting a lot of pressure on Bishop, and this is the battle that we're really hoping to keep an eye on as well. But right now, Holton, he's got the pace, and he needs to find a way to get this done. Bit wide through Forest Elbow, not going to be a good opportunity this time.
No, absolutely not. You can see there that battle continues. Down Conrod Straight we go. 1.9 kilometres of straight, this one. And just one of many of my interesting facts here for this Mount Panorama circuit. 862 metres above sea level. Can you believe that? I bet our viewers could not have got through the rest of the night without knowing that. But is that a Mustang having a moment? And that could be big, big bad news there as we see Holton all over the back of Carter. The pressure must be immense. And he eats pieces of pressure for breakfast, doesn't he?
He does. The Ford likes to lap it up too. Churns it through the engine, the big V8 engine, and sticks it out the end of the car. Another opportunity, but it's psychological pressure right now from Holton. He wants to get this run, preferably into Griffin's Bend. He can drive it down the inside if it's not being defended and just throw it into the braking zone. There's no grip on the outside as he come up the hill. So this is probably what Carter's going to be worried about at this stage. Maybe a pit stop that they all need to do. And Porsche in the background making a bit of a move. No move between Holton. There we go. Elzine's trying to do it. Can he get it done? Is it going to be on the inside line? Cameras going all over the place at the moment. I know we're focusing on it, but that's why he's actually sideways and he's tried it and it's not worked out.
Absolutely, and that's why we saw that brief pause in our race director there, as you can see. And Elzine, well, he's quick, the young man, but he has been involved in a couple of mistakes, unforced errors, if you like, and you can see he's right amongst the action there. Is Elzine as he goes down the order. That Porsche with a little bit of damage. He almost reversed back into the barrier too, and that's going to be trouble for him. You can see Silver leading, and there's another car around. Oh. Is that? I'm not sure. Was that a BMW? Holton, I think. Yep, Holton is off. And at least he's got a bit of runoff area to work with, but he's going to be seeing all of those cars go past him. And he's just doing more harm than good there, but he's got it underway. Here comes Elzine. Oh my goodness me, and he's off again, I think.
Yeah, no, I think he made avoiding action there, knew that Elzine was going to be fast off the corner. He's got a lot of damage on the car. He tried to flip it round, but yeah, he put the gas on a little bit too late, and it's bumpy around that area, so you don't get a lot of grip. And so he slammed the right side of the car directly into the barrier. Not going to be good for the tyres, not going to be good for the suspension or anything. And it's a disaster for Holton. 2 races in a row now, feature race and sprint race, and he's had an absolute shocker. So really gutted for him at the end of the day. Was going to highlight something, but we're now back on board with the leaders. 0.4 is the gap between Simmons and Bishop. Simmons got the fastest lap at this stage of the race. No change in temperature. A little bit of cloud cover coming over at Bathurst though, so that could help the tyre life on this very, very hot day at the circuit. Also had a report from chat that Nitro Racing had his internet go down and he dropped connection to the server, so we're absolutely gutted. Commiserations, mate. It's the worst thing that can happen, essentially, in a sim race at the end of the day, and totally out of our control, which just feels horrible. So sometimes this happens in real-world motorsports as well, when a part flies off the car and you have a disaster. But commiserations, mate. You did well rest of the race, and we hope to see you back for round 7, of course.
Absolutely, and well, it's not good news for Nitro, but what about Nitro's mum, who was also tuning in there? Stick with it. Could he go to his mum's house? And anyway, no, that is unfortunate for him. 52 minutes left in this race. Simmons and Bishop, not for the first time I'm talking about Simon Bishop and Matt Simmons. And if I've got to go with my head, I'd say Bishop. If I've got to go with the heart, I say Matthew Simmons. But then, don't forget about Josh Struick saving those all-important tyres. And the tyre wear, of course, one mandatory stop here. We didn't have any mandatory stops, of course, in the sprint race, but we've got one mandatory stop here in the feature race. And well, if I'm Josh Struick, am I sitting back here just biding my time, watching this battle and saving some rubber on my tyres? Is that what I'm doing?
I think that's probably a good strategy at the end of the day. You don't want to be running too close to the cars ahead. It's going to cause you to really lean on the mechanical grip of the car. When you do that, the tyre life starts to really go out. What I'd be looking at, if I'm Struick or Simmons at this point, or anyone who's following, you'd be looking at trying to maybe just undercut. You could try the overcut potentially, but I think the undercut here could be quite strong. Track position will be absolutely key going forward. So as long as Struick keeps it within, a second or so, which he's doing at the moment quite nicely, preserving the tyres, he could either go longer, or he could just find that he's getting a bit frustrated with the situation and go for the undercut. So Nitro, of course, is Henderson, by the way, for those of you who were wondering. So we're absolutely gutted for Henderson. It was a good result in the sprint race, but Internet has said no and dropped him out of the server. Not ideal at all. Another quick little tidbit of information as well. We actually had an opportunity to see between Silver and Shepherd's, but it's the little tag on the top of the car, so it signals the alternate driver. So if you don't have one, that's one particular driver, so in this case Silver does not have it. And if we jump to Shepherd's, you'll see that he's got the little green tag at the top of his car. So that is what that is for. It's to signal the alternative driver. That's what it's being used for.
Absolutely, a great bit of information there. Thank you for that. And yellow flag's out, but I think it might be the old pit lane yellow flag. There is Bishop now with the fastest lap of the race. You can see, as we said there, Shepherd's with that little aerial at the top. Reminds you of the old T-cam. Do you remember sort of the bright fluorescent yellow for the second driver back in the day in the F1? Used to sort of signify the number 2 driver. But there we go across the top of the mountain and down again. Lap 4 of this race. 50 minutes remaining in this one. And oh boy, it's going to be very close there. Not only at the front, but Silver still with
Yellow
a handicap. Yellow at Skyline, and there's a couple of yellow dots there. And that, oh, my heart always just skips a beat when I see yellow flags there. I'm just trying to get those car numbers for you. I think one of them might be Sinclair. It is, and yes, he is not where he should be, and he's managing to get that out of the wall. And there's someone else with him as well.
Oh dear, oh dear. I mean, it was almost inevitable. When we come to Bathurst, there's always a crash at the top of the hill somewhere. And that Ford, I'm not sure who that is. That Burrows, maybe, who's involved. But you see the front end of that 55 car not looking healthy at all. And there's been some resets to the pits as well. So some drivers just saying, well, that's it. You know, we just got to reset the car. There's no way to get this thing off the top of the hill. Don't know what part of the pack that was involved in, but it's obviously P20 and down or so they might not have picked up too many other people. Has someone been a little bit too brave at Skyline? It's not a place you can overtake, and if you make a small mistake, it just snowballs.
Absolutely, as we know, as we've seen already in race 1, as well, he is continuing on. Is he going to come into the pits? We'll wait and see for that Mercedes AMG car. And I've got to tell you, Victory Motorsport, he is coming into the pits, and the Victory Motorsport livery, and absolutely love the paintwork on that car. Very reminiscent of the old Jordan cars back in the day, but I'm showing my age, George, of course, as we get back racing. And Hurley Gray, very close here as well. Different classes, of course, but they don't care about that out on the circuit at the moment.
No, that's right. Get the position is what they're going to be thinking, or stay close, execute the strategy correctly in this 1 hour race. Looks like that's the Mercedes of Shepherd up the hill. Oh, that's a bit of a mistake and crossed the barrier. Well, not the barrier, across the curb massively for one of the Mercedes. Somehow has kept that thing going straight and not hit a barrier. Amazing work, in fact, to be surviving from that situation. So this is, as I understand it, Shepherd in front, correct me if I'm wrong. 4-car grid then. I think that was actually Shepherd's who we saw come on through. Confusing as ever, but different pronunciations, different spelling. Sheepers, of course, from South Africa. Shepherd, probably not from South Africa. Either way, 3-way battle there. 5-way battle, which is what we're watching now, and that's the 27 car of Shepherd going on through. 1.3 seconds of gap, so he's got a bit of work to do to catch up with the rest of the pack. And he's really holding Piper and Hurley and Gray back at the minute, just not letting them get too close. There was a good run for Piper through the chase. Does maybe have an opportunity because it's another good run through Murray's corner. And this could be a close one. Could it be a send? No, he's too far back for that at this stage.
Absolutely, as it is a little bit confusing, but that is our job. I heard the word survival. And that is me getting a little bit nervous there. And nerves of steel up here in the commentary box. We've got to have nerves of steel. Let me tell you, because we're not even out on the circuit and we're getting nervous, aren't we, up here in the commentary box, all side by side. And that is terrible from our race director, as we've gone off a battle there. I didn't mean to do that, but I've given myself away there. The jig is up, but James Barton now winning in the Pro-Am class in the sprint race. And guess what? He's in P3 here at the moment, right behind James Matchin. Oh, ping pong, bouncing off those walls. And that's going to give James Barton a chance, but this is not the easiest place to pass over the top of this circuit.
Oh no, you just don't do it. Just don't do it. All right, as simple as that. And yeah, look, we do get a few cold sweats here in the commentary box, as do you, the viewers who are watching on. Fantastic action so far. This is what you want from a motor race. This is why we come to this FIA Grade 3 circuit at Bathurst so often. And people over in Europe don't like it as much. I don't understand them at all. I've got an English accent. I'm actually a Kiwi. I'll tell you what, Bathurst is one of the greatest places to come racing, especially in ACC. Some people don't like it. I don't understand it at all. Barton doing well yet again. We did miss a key moment, but he was trying to defend around the outside. Looks like he wasn't able to do that. Machin goes up into P10. And we did see Piper bounce off one of the walls just coming up the hill as well. So maybe a little bit of damage there for him. There's a huge gaggle of cars in this line here. You've got Shepherd, Hurley, Gray, Hutton, Green, Wood, all in a row, and all separated by less than a second. Machin has made a mistake.
Ooh, Machin here has made a mistake. A few cars coming into the pits in the background there. Barton continues on his way. Piper is putting pressure on Machin here as well now, as we see Green and Shepherd into the pits. Very close together there, of course. Sandwith, let's have a look at some of the other drivers. Further afield, of course, we've got Boyd. Once again, I'd hate to be picking up the repair bill for these McDonald's Fogarty Motorsport cars. Isaac Fogarty, I've got him on my mind. I'm missing him, that's for sure. Big hello to you out there, Isaac, who's not with us tonight. But once again, damage on the Fogarty Motorsport Junior car.
Yeah, that's not. He's not loving it. Let's just put it that way. It's the new smashed beef burger being advertised here on the car at the moment, I think, for the number 79 car. No, that's not a real thing. But yeah, he'll come into the pits. These are early pit stops that we're seeing, though. This is only 16 minutes into the race. There's only one mandatory stop, and these tyres will easily last through 30 minutes of the race. So the ideal strategy here is 50-50. You've got to try and make it to that distance. 45 minutes on a set of tyres will work. But I tell you, that last 10 minutes is going to be hell at Hell Corner. It's going to be tricky at Griffins. It's going to be a bit of a slicing at the cutting. You're going to go over the hill and potentially bounce off Skyline and dip the car too much through the dipper. My metaphors will stop at some point, but it's going to be tricky those last 10 minutes with a 45-minute stint. It is doable for the undercut, though. So some drivers will be thinking, look, if I can just get out there, get some clean air. That's the key thing. Clean air is king at the mountain.
Absolutely, you've got to be braver than a kangaroo on Conrod Straight, that's for sure. And we're terrible, aren't we? I'm sure they love it.
Yeah, terrible.
Back at home, as we can see, 43 minutes remaining. Bishop, not a lot changing here at the business end of things. Yeah, there's a long shot there with the camera, but Simmons, those two, they're wily old customers, aren't they? Matt Simmons, 2015 GT Academy champion. A little bit disappointed they didn't make a movie about him or include him in some way in the Gran Turismo movie, but that's another discussion point. Getting very close to his old sparring partner in Simon Bishop here.
Good racing by the two, and this is going to be chewing up a little bit of Simmons' tyres, but you can see he keeps setting this fastest lap, and he's holding on, just putting the pressure. Might have realized that Bishop has made a mistake previously at this circuit and wants to try and force another one. This is also key for his strategy. He wants to be doing the same strategy execution as Bishop and maybe try and find a good outlap somewhere or undercut him by one lap or so to try and make that move happen in the pit stop. It's a good tactic to be thinking about. I wonder, though, if he's maybe just holding it a little bit too close. That said, these are racing drivers, as you well know, Trev. If there's an opportunity to overtake, they will take it. And if this is a gap at the moment, there's going to be opportunities aplenty. Down towards the chase, there might be one, but BMW's equal machinery, similar top speed at the end of the day, dependent on setup. Looks like Simon Bishop knows he's in a little bit of danger. It's a little bit of jeopardy there, so he's weaving back and forth to try and just break the slipstream as much as possible. Knows how strong that can be as we head into the chase. And Simmons not making any silly moves at this stage. He's very calm under the steering. Inputs are very smooth, and that is going to be key to preserving that tyre life. Do want to note, Struick has actually fallen well out of that 1 second zone. So 2.3 seconds is now the gap. And then another 5.5 back to Denetti, who has made his way up to P4.
Absolutely never easy for Simon Bishop, who in danger. I keep thinking of the Ralph Wiggum, I'm in danger, as Simon Bishop there first and second. Won't do that again. That voice in a hurry, let me tell you. Struick has dropped back 2.2 further back. Then it's Matt Donetti, Cam Fleming. Come along with me here on the standings. Nick Carter, he is all on his own, which he might be very lonely there for the time being. But are we thinking pit stop strategy? One mandatory pit stop here, of course, as there's a car going off and making no attempt to stay on the circuit. It looked like Ryan Tame, and that was very bizarre, wasn't it? He must have lost his steering, or his wheels disconnect. Oh no.
Oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. He's come back onto the track. It's bouncing. Oh, it's actually stopped at an okay place, but he's got the accelerators stuck on. The accelerator's stuck on. It's caused an accident. He needs to reset. He needs to reset this car. That's 2 that he's taken out. He needs to stop. This is unbelievable. What are we seeing right now? The accelerator's stopped, stuck on.
No.
The steering's clearly stuck as well, and it's still a disaster.
I shouldn't.
Oh, Trev, I've never seen anything like that.
I've been doing this for a long time, so have you. He's just got to, can he pause the game? I don't quite know what he can do there. His accelerator stuck on and stuck throttle or something. You can see he's managed to just, even now, he's still in a very difficult position there. 40 minutes to go in this race. Yellow flags are out. We caught the start of that incident, didn't we? With Tame. Can he just exit back to the pit lane and potentially get out of the way as we see another Mustang coming through there? He's still stuck there. Now he's back in the pits as we see Nicholson into the pits as well. Henderson there with some damage on his car, but it is all happening. If we thought we'd seen it all, if we thought we'd seen everything in the sprint race, oh boy, we're seeing some strange things in the feature race as well.
Yep, this is why you don't turn away from a broadcast at Bathurst, because something will happen at some point. It'll be something you haven't seen before, and that was something absolutely unique. I've never seen that happen before. It was very clear that his accelerator was stuck on, and he had no steering at all. He bounced off the left-hand side of the track, came back on, and then started doing donuts. And we can tell you, we promise you this right now, Tame is not silly enough to try and do that. It wasn't an attempt to rejoin or anything like that. Clearly had some sort of hardware control failure in the car. Did take out 2 people. That is just disappointing as anything for those guys who are complete innocent bystanders. We've got a car spinning around doing donuts on the wrong part of Griffin's Bend. So yeah, he is in the pits now safely, luckily for everyone else on track. There shouldn't be any further incident with that, and let's hope he can get himself back into the race. Do also want to report, Trev, that that Skyline incident we saw before, that was Nicholson, who spun at McPhillamy, ended up stuck in a very awkward place and collecting a couple more cars. So really an unforced error into an unlucky situation where you sat 90 degrees across the entry into Skyline. Very awkward for the drivers to avoid, so very unlucky as well. And that's it. Survival, yet again, not necessarily determined by your own actions, mostly determined by the actions of others, or just a bit of unluck. 38 minutes to go. 38 minutes more potential for all sorts of stuff to happen.
Oh, as we see now, we've got some pit stop action approaching half race distance here. Barton, Matchin, Wood, Sandwith as well, all into the pits. We'll just get back here, less than 2 seconds the gap. Back to Josh Struick. Matt Donetti doing okay there in P4. Cam Fleming not too far behind him. Then it's Silver. Carter, I should say. Then it's Silver. This man leading. I've been very, very impressed with this man's work here this evening. Didn't quite go his way in race 1, but he's leading with a handy 9-second gap on Sheppers there. With his aerial at the top of the car to help identify him. Coming through, not going into the pits this time around. Then it's Piper, of course, Gray as well. 1.3 back to Hutton. Then it's Joy, who's very, very happy with that. Stewart has done nicely as well. Boyd is in P2. Only 2 AM drivers in this race tonight as he comes down at Conrod straight here. The Ferraris, well, they're P13 overall. They're well down the field. It can't be an easy car to set up around this circuit. As Sandwith back into the lane out of the pits. Here in the Pro-Am class, the number 15 Ferrari DeWitt. Haven't talked about him too much, but he's minding his own business and doing okay, albeit further down the field here, but still out there, still circulating, and still there's not a lot of damage to that car. So he's doing all right here with 36 to go.
Yeah, I think Les Samuth was one of the cars that got hit by Thames out of control Aston Martin coming up Griffin's Bend. I think he was the last car that we saw. Just got absolutely sideswiped, sent literally in the air into the barrier. So it was a massive accident for Les, and I think he did manage to bring the car around, albeit very slowly. Found his way back on the pits, got a repair, because you could see that he was in the pits. Still had the green flag on his name, so he'd already done a pit stop in this race, and that's just even more unlucky for him. So probably 2 stops for this one. The Ferraris, yeah, difficult cars to set up, difficult cars to drive at a circuit like this. They are incredibly quick, but they're very unstable through the top of the hill here. You have to run a very low downforce for these cars. And the front end, that's usually very sticky, just lifts up and you don't get the grip that you're really expecting with it. Then combine that with the low downforce and you end up with a car that doesn't really want to tackle the surface at all. Hard to slow it down, good to get it off the line, of course, easy to rotate, but you're trying to manage that top speed, and the rear end doesn't want to play ball at any part of the circuit, really, at the end of the day. So tricky car to drive might be why we're seeing not as much success for the Ferrari drivers as we may have hoped for before. And I do want to call out that, you know, the 2 lead Ferraris at the moment, P13 and P14, looking good. Hurley has pitted, so he's actually well up the grid. He's probably in the top 10 still. It's been a good drive from him, so the teammate of DeWitt, who we've been seeing a moment ago. Stewart in P15. Stewart has been doing fantastically well. He's obviously a pit stop down on in the deficit than everyone else. He needs to come in for that pit stop. But this is still potential for top 20 result for Ian, and that's a bunch of points.
Absolutely. Jackie Stewart or Ian Stewart. Look how good he is travelling here this evening. As you can see there, the AM-class driver, he just keeps on keeping on in the Aston Martin. Oh, approaching half-race distance, of course. Piper and Joy, they're both into the pits. This gets me every single time. And in the commentary box here, because when will we see these drivers, these guys in the top 10? Of course, if you are new to Assetto Corsa, you can see that sort of yellow-orange strip there with 1 right down the leaderboard. That indicates that they still have the pit stop to come into their pit stops. And once that goes green, that particular driver in question has served their mandatory stop. Of course, you can make more than 1 stop, but it is only a 1-hour race, and at the front it's still very tight. Who is going to blink first here? Let's wait and see. There's a Mercedes coming out of pit lane at the worst possible time. But are we going to see an undercut, an overcut? What are we going to see here as we approach the halfway mark and that pit stop window?
I've got to think, you've got to imagine that Simmons is going to try the undercut here. There's no point in staying out. He's on the worst tyre. Simon Bishop's had clean air the entire race, so he's got the pendulum is swinging Simon Bishop's way at this stage, and he'll be able to take a half pit stop quite easily, basically maximizing the tyre grip over the course of the race. And that's the key thing. That's why Simon Bishop is going to be defending this position as much as possible. For Simmons, though, yeah, get into the pits. Might even be this lap, to be completely honest with you. He's been stuck behind Bishop, and in that dirty air, the tyres will be suffering as a result. So an early pit stop and maybe a good charge, a good lap. He's clearly got the pace strength. I just wonder what he's able to do in the full clean air. If he gets that clean air, he'll be driving like he's got a rocket pack strapped to the back of the car, because he's going to be unleashed. And we know that he qualified within, I think it was half a tenth of a second of Simon Bishop. So these two are really equal on pace, their overall pace in the race. So the strategy execution is going to be key. It's really the only hope that Simmons is going to have. Doesn't have an advantage in the top speed of the car. Simon Bishop defending and driving very, very well, breaking the slipstream where appropriate. I don't think Simmons is going to pass him without doing something in the strategy. No. Let's get that car in this lap, I would say. Oh. Maybe do 1 more. But honestly, I'd be bringing that car in this lap, trying the undercut, because it's the only way that's going to work.
Absolutely. Don't forget about Struick as well. Well, we talk about undercut or overcut. Are they going to come in together? That could be another one, which we could see, although Simon Bishop does like the overcut. He likes to stay out longer in many of these races, and of course, well, what more can we say? It is Matt Simmons, of course, but don't forget about Struick there as well. And there's a bit of a buffer back to Matt Donetti. Max Silva is continuing on in the first position there in the Pro-Am class. And Gray as well coming down at Conrod Straight. Hutton, where are some of the other battles? It's the field spread. Shepherd into the pits, Henderson and Nicholson. Well, they've been in there for a while. I don't think we're going to be seeing them for the rest of this race. 31 minutes remaining here. It's all about that pit stop strategy. Who is going to blink first? Who's going to come in first? Is it going to be Simmons or Hutton? Well, Hutton on this occasion. He's coming in from a podium position in the Pro-Am class, and it's one of those annoying things on this game with these invisible pit crews. It's so much nicer, isn't it, on Gran Turismo when you get those beautiful pit stop animations, but that's just my personal preference. Gray also into the pits, so a bit happening in the Pro-Am class here, 1, 2 and 3.
Well, it's time for me to do a shameless plug to get everyone on ACC on PC, because you do have a pit crew in ACC on PC. Admittedly, GD7 unmatched in terms of the quality of the animations, but you don't get to control yourself in the pit lane, which I don't like. So there's no perfect world out there, Trev. That's the reality of it. All these games have got their amazing stuff that they do in different areas, and I think it's one of those things where you've just got to race them all because they're all fantastic at the end of the day. Griffin, yeah, doesn't come in this lap. Gray and Hutton in this lap. Silver staying out. That gap between Simmons and Bishop has actually grown a little bit. It's now at 1 second. So I think Simmons has even made a small mistake there. Or Bishop has decided now's the time to push. I've got to go for it. Got to bring the gap up a little bit as much as possible. And that way he can sort of secure his position in P1 and come out of the pits at the right time. Conditions, by the way, down a couple of degrees Celsius on track. Wind direction hasn't changed so far. So we see a little bit of an ambitious line through Griffin's Bend for Griffin. So a little bit of a namesake there for those of you who don't know. Mayor Griffin was the mayor in charge of the town of Bathurst when Mount Panorama circuit was built. And it was originally proposed, as I understand it, proposed as a racing circuit. The council declined to do that. The Mayor Griffin said, well, I'm going to build a scenic drive instead. Just so happens to be shaped in the course of a race circuit.
Unbelievable. As we can see, whilst we were talking about the history of this wonderful circuit, Bishop, Struick and Fleming all in the pits, and Matt Simmons staying out. Overcut. It's gone the other way. Matt Simmons staying out here.
Very interesting. He's going to have reduced tyre grip, but he's got the cleaner air, I should say. Fascinating to see that happen. I don't know if this overcut strategy is going to play out. We shall see. He will have fresher tyres towards the end, so maybe his thought process here is something more in line with, I want to be able to attack, I want to have the tyre advantage. Haven't had it all the way through this race, but now if I stay out an extra lap, we'll have slightly better grip. The question is, how good is this in-lap going to be? He's got a car ahead of him, which will be blue flag, but he's stuck with that ahead for the moment, and that's going to be costing him a little bit of time. He's got to not focus on the car ahead, and instead he's just got to focus on keeping the speed up and trying to make this in-lap as fast as humanly possible. If he can do that, and if Simon Bishop has a not ideal outlap, this could swing back the way of Simmons, but I'd say he's probably left it a lap late.
Oh, I reckon he's just rounding up the traffic there down at Conrod Straight. What a circuit this is, combining the speed, of course. You need to be brave as well. Great traditions around this circuit. Fastest lap now for Simmons. Keep an eye on Simon Bishop. There was a yellow flag out there briefly at the top of the hill, but that has cleared now, thankfully. Simmons continuing on. Wow, so Simmons, Donetti, Carter and Silva yet to come in and make their stops, as well as Griffin in P2 in the Pro-Am class. You can see Bishop, he is looking very good, isn't he? Simon Bishop around this circuit, and I've got to say that this is going to be a very close finish to this one, as we see Donetti now in the pits. But what is Matt Simmons, how long is he going to leave this? Of course, he'll have the fresher tyres after his pit stop, but you do not want to leave too much work for yourself, do you, in the final minutes of this race?
Yeah, it all comes back to bite you, because Simon Bishop now, he's got clean air, fresh tyres, and he's going to be absolutely flying around the circuit at the moment. So keep an eye on that. The gap between him and Struick was at about 3 seconds. It's now 4 seconds. So I think Simon Bishop has probably already had a very good in and out lap at this stage, is now just getting himself focused for the final stint. Struick is sort of trundling around the grid at the moment. Don't know quite what's there. There we go. 4-second gap does reappear on our overview as we take a little bit of a focus on this man who has been quiet. He's been there, sneaking around the background. If Simmons gets this wrong, Struick is up in the second place and will have to try and make that charge after Bishop, but he hasn't shown us the pace just yet. And if he's holding back, now he needs to start to think about, when do I put the pedal down? When do I really start throwing this car around the track? Seemingly Simon Bishop and Simmons have been able to go around this track at full helter, full pace, without any real degradation to their ability to drive the car. So at the end of the day, Struick, he's got to make something happen. It's got to happen soon. Otherwise, he's going to be in a bit of trouble.
Yes, he sure is. You can see the race continuing now. Just Simmons and Carter in the top two. Griffin now into the pits. I believe that's all of them. As you can see there, a little bit of a moment there on that occasion for Struick, but he is absolutely on the pace, isn't he? As Matt Simmons is coming into the pits. Let's keep an eye on this. There he is. And there goes Nick Carter. Surely Carter has to come into the pit lane on this lap. No, he doesn't. He makes a liar out of me, but Simon Bishop is charging down Conrod Straight, and not since, let me tell you, the government surveyor, George Evans, back in 1815 when he first sighted Bathurst. We haven't seen action like this. And yes, I can go back even further, George, in our history lesson here tonight.
Yep, the information sponge, Trev, at work. This is why I love having him on the team, because he's just got all this information banked up. Through chase, looks clean for Simon Bishop. Simmons will be at the end of this pit stop. It's gone green now, so he should be finding his way out of the pit stop slowly. This might have just worked. It's going to be so close. Bishop coming down across the pit lane now, across the checkered flag. Not taking the checkered flag, but across the timing line into Hell Corner. Where's Simmons now? Is he already out? He's just coming out. Simmons might have done it. Simmons has. He's actually ahead of Simon Bishop.
Unbelievable. Struick further back there. You can see him in the background, but this has changed the race entirely. Matt Simmons by staying out. And I tell you what, having said that, we don't want to say too much just yet. Carter's still out there, as we saw, going past the pit lane, but this has worked out very nicely for Matt Simmons. And we're going to see round number 2 in this battle between Simon Bishop and Matt Simmons in this race. Round 6 of season 2 of AGT ACC. What a night of entertainment we've seen in the TrackSpotTV challenge. Oh boy, having said that though, Bishop, his tyres will be up to temperature, but Simmons has track position, has the fresher tyres, and he's streaking away at the front.
Yeah, this is a huge call for Simmons. I mean, he's played that beautifully. I think it was 2 or 3 laps extra that he did, and he's still on the pace. He was having had a very good in-lap. I don't know if Simon Bishop made a mistake somewhere or had a bad out-lap, maybe had a little bit of traffic to try and navigate. We know there was traffic for Simmons as he was coming down the hill on the final lap and wasn't able to take advantage of any slipstream either. So fascinating that he's ended up out ahead of Simon Bishop. Nothing more could be swung his way. He's got a gap of over a second, essentially breaking the slipstream. He's got the fresher tyre. He's ahead with track position. And right now, Simmons absolutely in the box seat. We were suspecting this because we had the fastest lap there for Simmons, so we know he's got pace. Just needed to be unleashed from behind Simon Bishop, who he very calmly and patiently followed for 30 minutes of the race before Bishop decided that's it, it's time to come in. And yeah, we'll see what Carter can do now. He's in the pits. Is he going to gain a position from this as well?
Well, let's wait and see. Carter finally comes into the pit lane in the 7-11 as there's a Ferrari getting out of the way there. 22 minutes left in this race, and we know there's other things happening out on the circuit. Hello. Is this our race winner in the Pro-Am class from race 1? Right up behind Aiden Holton, not quite having the race down in P7 here, but he's right up behind Aiden Holton, who were a little bit disappointed there in this one, sitting in P15 overall in car number 98. But James Barton doing very nicely here, as we'll keep an eye on that one. Further down the field, Ian Stewart, who won the AM class, of course, in the sprint race. Guess what? He's a long way ahead of Matthew Boyd, and could he get 2 from 2 here this evening? What a result for Ian Stewart.
Yeah, great consistent driving. We said it before in the sprint race, he's done the exact same thing here. He has actually lost 1 position overall, but it's not a massive surprise that he's done that. He's had a lot of Pro and Pro-Am drivers behind him at the beginning of this race. But that P20 start, one of his best in the season. This will be one of his best results in the season as well. So really, overall, it's going to be a good day if you're a Stewart. The eye in Jackie maybe starting to come out on track, which is great to see. Fantastic stuff. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch up Griffin unless there's a mistake ahead. All he has to focus on right now is just bring this car home, which is unfortunately not been the case for a number of others out on the grid. I do have some information. Can confirm Ryan Tame throttle was stuck on. That's why we saw what happened. He had no control over the car at all, so as suspected, and still to this day, and I think for many years in the future, that'll be one of the most unique incidents I've ever seen in a sim race.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think we will see that one anytime soon. He was just spinning around, wasn't he? Not in a good way there, and you could see that he was just knocking those cars one after the other. Big hello, Nitro's mum, enjoying the commentary, loving your work there. Not so good for a Nitro Junior, but great to have everyone, of course, along with us across Twitch, TrackSpotTV, and of course Adrenaline GT on YouTube. 20 minutes remaining. It's less than a second between these two at the front. Josh Struick, do not count this man out, because when you least expect it, he is going to pounce on you. And if anything happens between first and second, we know they're clean professionals, those two. They know how to dice for the lead at the front, but he will be there to pick up the crumbs. So too Matt Donetti. And we've got 4 BMWs inside the top 5, and a great effort from Struick to tame the Mustang beast here at the mountain tonight. Never easy in the Mustangs. Oh, is that the commentator's curse? Getting very close. I always worry about that one. But you can see they're doing very nicely inside the top 3 for the Pro class in the Mustang, and he's taming the mountain in that car.
Yeah, bear in mind, of course, the recent BOP update for the Ford, which has been applied here at AGT ACC. The Ford now carrying essentially the maximum weight, and reduction in power is also at the maximum level. So it's been absolutely cut off at the heels. It's still an incredibly powerful, quick machine, but it is nowhere near what it was beforehand. And I think it's a valid update to the BOP. It's the LFM BOP, so Low Fuel Motorsports, for those of you who don't know. It's a league of over 300,000 drivers, one that I've had the privilege of being part of the commentary team for, and a number of events. I'll never forget my 14-hour stint in the 24 hours of Nordschleife with Liang Li and Case King. That was very, very intense. Some of the best drivers in the world participate in that league, and they do know what they're doing in terms of the LFM BOP. So this is what's been applied to the server as well, and the Ford is the one that's really taken the hit at the end of the day. But oh, look at this, we've got a double purple, P1, P2,
it's
an identical fastest lap for our front runners.
It's happened again. We'll, no, we won't play around with that too much, but we saw this in Watkins Glen for the American Grand Prix. We saw it in qualifying as well, but we saw also in the race identical times, and there is nothing between the two of them, not in terms of the fastest lap. Who gets it? I don't think anybody gets it, do they? Usually when we see this situation in a qualifying session, it's usually the driver who sets the fastest time first, but it is dead even. It can't get any closer than this, as we see Simmons and Bishop 1 and 2. What else is happening? Max Silva liked his work this evening. He's a few seconds, he's about 14 seconds ahead of Gray there in the Mustang, car number 57, and then it's Sheppers on for a podium as well. And these Pro-Am guys looking very nice indeed. We know Ian Stewart there, Matty Boyd as well further down the field. We have lost a couple of drivers, of course, and then there's Nicholson and Shepherd in the pit lane, looking very stagnant there because they are not moving. But Boyd is continuing on, albeit with some damage on that Fogarty Motorsport Junior car with the McDonald's paint scheme on there. You can see DeWitt is back into the pits. Not sure what's happening there, but Burrows as well, Pro Class. He will not be happy with his performance here in this race, well down the field on this occasion.
Yeah, 25th position for Burrows at the moment in the Ford, which, as I was explaining before, has had a major bopping, so to speak. It's been reduced in power quite substantially. The weight has been increased on the car as well. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, 25th, you're not going to be happy with that. You'll be happy that you're driving at Bathurst, but you haven't really, I don't think we've seen Burrows in really much action out on the grid. I think he might have been one of the drivers involved in some of the incidents, so it's possible that that's why he's down the order. Dan Wood as well, not a name that I'd expect to see in 24th place in the 102 Mercedes. So surprise there. For sure. But, you know, this is what happens sometimes. You don't always have the result that you want, and the fact that we're keeping going is the important thing, I think, you know, especially if it's an endurance race. So I wouldn't class this as an endurance race necessarily, but a 60-minute race, you know, you've got to get it to the end. You know, if you finish the race, whatever the position, you're a winner in my eyes, certainly, and I don't know how much that really means to people at the end of the day. Commentators said you're a winner, but you haven't actually won out on track. Still, at the end of the day, bring it home, complete the race, have a bit of fun out there, because that's what it's all about.
Absolutely, as Matty Simmons there dominating, well, not dominating, he's taken the fastest lap back, of course. I say dominating, he's leading the race, but Simon Bishop there, less than a second still back to him. There is a lot left to play out before these drivers cross the finish line here at Mount Panorama. Who will conquer the mountain? We've got Pro-Am and Am class drivers, and the best way to identify those is because we've got the white numbers, of course, down the standings, and our leaderboard, the silver coloured standings and the red standings, of course, as we see Henderson with a drive-through penalty there. I'm not sure what that's for, but he's been a little bit of a naughty boy there, so he'll have to come in within the next 3 laps or so and serve that penalty. He is behind one of the Ferraris there. Is that DeWitt? No, it is not, because he's in a different coloured car, as you can see. Sandwith, yes, absolutely there, very close out on the circuit. I tell you what else is close here, Max Silver and Hurley in the Ferrari. Max Silver, is he lining up down Conrod Straight to make a move into the chase here?
Yeah, I get the feeling Silver might like this track. Just a little hunch here, but he's been performing very, very well in the number 75. Half a second, and he's going to be gaining through this part of the circuit. Mercedes got great legs on it. Ferrari should be able to defend down the inside line, but will there be a send up the inside? There is. Number 75, and Silver has absolutely demolished the Ferrari. Hurley sent back to P8 and up to P7 for Silver, so he's back to his qualifying position from the qualifying session so many minutes ago. That's a great standard overtake at the chase. That's how you do it, ladies and gentlemen.
Unbelievable, dude. Max Silva, love that name too. Also got a young Max as well here at home, but it's not about me because we've got 13.5 minutes remaining in this race. Go Max! And boy, don't we love that move. He is leading and he loves this circuit, Max Silva. And he's doing very nicely indeed, and had a bit of a rough time of it, didn't he, in the sprint race, but he's doing some good things there. What other battles do we have out on the track? This one's still continuing. Barton v Holton, round 2 coming your way very, very shortly. Barton's very close down into turn 1. Ooh, where can he get a move done here?
Yeah, but interestingly for Barton, I mean, look where he's ended up, P16. Not expected. Look how many drivers he's got ahead of him in his class. So Joy, Lee, Hutton, Sheppers, Gray, all ahead of him at this stage, and he was right up there in the top 3 in terms of qualifying for this class, and it's just not gone his way. So I do wonder if he's been involved in an accident somewhere that we haven't necessarily caught on camera. Does ride the curb ever so slightly at Griffins, but gets a good exit. Holton does not get a good exit through there, running P15. Remember, he was the man who was leading the sprint race all the way through until that accident at the top of the Skyline, but he was an innocent bystander of that. And then, of course, another accident where he's found himself turned sideways at Skyline again. So Skyline and and Holton, not a match made in heaven.
No, absolutely not. It's been testy here this evening, but look at this now. We've got car number 77 here. We've got Joy right up behind the 53 Ferrari. And there's some good battles brewing here. And with 12 minutes remaining. Oh, Mercedes is around there at the dipper there, just coming onto Conrod Straight. The Sinclair is around car number 55. Now let's have a look at the track map. Don't panic, George. Do not he's, I don't know what's happening as we see the yellow flags are out, or it's a green flag being waved now, so he's got underway, which is good for him, and I don't think he's got anyone else around him there as he comes out of Conrod Straight. So considering what we have seen this evening, that's not a bad result for him.
No, I'd say that's one of the more innocent accidents we've seen today, and clearly got it wrong and the rear end stepped out. It's a problem that Mercedes car does have at a circuit like this, where the track drops away, and especially at the entry to Forest Elbows. We see a very close battle now between Machin and I believe that is Piper. So they are going for it. They've exchanged positions at least once. I think Machin might have made the overtake at the chase, and now it's Piper trying to chase back that position. Excuse my puns. Another yellow flag out on track, and that is coming through Forest Elbow. As I was saying before, tricky corner to get right. It's slightly off camber. It's coming around a right-hander, and then suddenly you're finding the track massively drops away. So all the weight transfer goes to the back of the car, and you're trying to trail brake through this. And it's really, really difficult to get that turn and to get the car's front wheels to kind of come back down onto the track and really grip up on the surface and then pull the car around. So not an easy corner to deal with, and if the rear end doesn't want to play ball, it's got too much pressure on it, you overheat the rear tyres, you will find that the rear end will just step out on you and you'll be gone, you'll be in the barrier. That's what we saw just a few moments ago, and that's what the drivers will be contending. In fact, everything downhill, really at the end of the day, and we all know this from essentially a little physics lesson here, the underfloor, the downforce that's caused by the underfloor of the car and of course on the top of the car operates most effectively when the car is flat. So when you're going uphill, it's not ideal. When you're going downhill, it's really scary, just like that. Just like that.
Less than 10 minutes to go now. Simon Bishop there is getting a bit of a gap ahead of him to Matt Simmons. Barton as well, these cars. The Mustangs, we've been talking about it all evening. They look very, very twitchy. Indeed, down Conrod Straight we go. Less than 10 minutes remaining. DeWitt is in the pits. Not sure what that's all about. We'll keep an eye on that, but we've got Max Silver still leading in the Pro-Am class there. Matty Simmons also leading in the Pro class. You can see Ian Stewart as well. They're doing some good things. What other battles have we got here? We are looking at Piper and Machin. Joy and Lee as well, getting very friendly through the final corner here onto the start-finish straight. He is very close in car number 77. Not close enough to make a move on this occasion. This isn't for a podium battle, but still top 5 in the Pro-Am class. Still plenty to play for there, but can you believe it? Less than 9 minutes to go. There is another yellow flag. I think that might be the young man in Elzine. Oh boy, we've seen a few incidents here this evening.
Oh, have we? Yeah. We've seen more than our fair share, to be honest, and he's done the right thing there and reset the car. He would have had to reverse in that position or hit the accelerator and turn the car around. Don't know what's happened between him and the other car there, but yeah, another disaster at Skyline. It's just picking up victims one after the other. True serial killer style, sad to say. But Skyline, easily, I think, one of the trickiest corners in all of motorsport. Skyline and the dipper, that section, that little 20-meter bit of track is so difficult. And you're just coming off the back of this stressful area across the hill through Reed Park, through McPhillamy and Suleiman, and now you're suddenly thrust into this area where you've got to be so gentle on the brakes, so careful on the throttle, and still maintaining that apex speed. Otherwise, you're just going to find yourself slow and causing other sorts of accidents. These cars we're seeing on screen right now, Barton included, coming through there nice and cleanly this time round. But I tell you, one small lapse of concentration, that's it, you're gone.
Absolutely, and 23 corners, they come thick and fast, don't they? 14 to the left, 9 to the right. Before you know it, it can happen quickly. You're facing the wrong way as 7.5 minutes now to go in this one. We are counting down to the grand finale here in this round 6 of Season 2 Adrenaline GT ACC, the TrackSpotTV Challenge. Oh boy, how fitting. It has been a challenge indeed to see who has been able to conquer this mountain here this evening at Mount Panorama. What a circuit, we absolutely love it. 25 laps to go, and is that gap going to be enough? Of course not. 1.7 seconds. You can never count Simon Bishop out, but it's out to 2 seconds now, and Matty Simmons looking comfortable, but I've said that before at Mount Panorama.
Yeah, you're comfortable until something goes wrong. That's the nature of this circuit. Simmons has done great work, though. We can't take anything away. I mean, that overcut executed beautifully. Complete wrong prophesizing by us in the commentary box as to what he was going to do, but the 2 or 3 laps that he spent out extra, had the clean air, was able to run at his full pace, has the fastest lap, so he's the fastest man on the circuit. So a little bit surprising not to see him in the with the qualifying pole, which probably would have been him if it was maybe a slightly better qualifying session for himself. But he's executed the strategy beautifully. I mean, this is driver of the day territory for me. Starting back behind Simon Bishop, making this incredible strategy call to get 3 laps overcut on tyres that would be in worse shape than Simon Bishop's for the most part, and just has had the pace out on track right now. You can't take that away from him. Yeah, look, TrackSpotTV Challenge today has been fantastic. Great watching. I think it's been a challenge to watch on occasions as well. It's been a challenge to commentate on with so much action out on track. Exactly what we expect from a Bathurst race. Exactly what we expect from AGT ACC. So it is one of those things that you're viewing one of the top races I think we've had this season so far.
Yes, absolutely. It's not done with yet. As we can see, 5 minutes remaining. Joy right behind Lee in the Ferrari. That is very close there. Barton and Holton also very close as we come through the chase. Oh, you can see the number 53 Ferrari very wide, not quite as wide as Aidan Holton. And boy, the icebreak boards and the AMG boards copping it big time there. That lets Barton through. And finally, Barton is through ahead of Holton. And he's done well. He's done well just to keep that all pointing in the right direction and inside the white lines. He was outside the white lines for a brief period, but he's managed to get away with that, or has he? As he goes wide once again.
Oh, there we go. Mercedes goes on through, so it's now Ferrari being the meat and the sandwich with a BMW at the back. And a Mercedes now in front, but there's going to be opportunities here coming into Griffin's Bend. The Ferraris going to be battling it out between each other. Barton tries the inside line, does manage to get it through the braking zone. Excellent work by him. No choice for the other Ferrari. He's got to back out of it and let that man go on through. Holton with that mistake, obviously now slightly out of the battle, but he'll be right back in there soon because that BMW's got some good legs on it, assuming he hasn't got too much damage in the car after that little bit of an accident. And always good. I think it's one of those things when you do crash into the advertising boards, the sponsors get a little bit more of a shout out. So I think they'll be pretty happy. They won't be too worried about the cost of replacing the billboard today. But yeah, look, we're 3.5 minutes now, essentially. Well, 3 minutes 50 seconds away from the end of the race. It's a couple of laps left. Looking at where these guys are, we're going to get this lap plus 2 more. The track temperature has come down a lot as we see a very bumpy ride for Holton down the hill into the Forest Elbow braking zone. It was good. Oh, we've got a very wide Mercedes, and that is Barton on through, easy peasy, because the number 13 has decided that driving off track is where he's going to put the car this time. Very unlucky. So Joy making a bit of a mistake. Sorry, 77. I need to get my glasses out at this stage. But that's an unfortunate mistake, and the Mercedes yet again at Forest Elbow. It's not stable through there. It's so difficult to drive.
Not a lot of joy there through that particular corner. That's going to leave him vulnerable to Machin as well. And 72% of drivers starting on pole position around this circuit have gone on to win the race. Oh, if you believe statistics like that, George, you'll believe anything. But Machin is through. He is through on Joy. And that has upset him big time there coming through the dipper. And is that going to leave him vulnerable from the Pied Piper as well?
Let's see. Piper has got some good legs on that Mercedes. And Mercedes are quick cars. They suffer so much in the squiggly stuff around the mountain. So this is where the advantage goes back and swings the other way. They've just got to keep control. Piper's definitely in this. He's got the ability here, and he's got the pace on the car. As we see another move, we've got Alton trying to make a move on the other Ferrari, on Lee, who's now the bottleneck in this group. Barton's starting to run away with things as well. So tricky little bit of racing for these guys. We're coming up towards the last lap of this race, and if it stays as it is, this will be Matt Simmons' second win at AGT ACC, his first of the season, and the last race win for Matt Simmons was in the Texas Showdown in COTA in Season 1. So great information coming in from our race control. Matt Simmons is on for his first win of Season 2, and what a win it's going to be. I mean, strategy execution perfect.
Absolutely, and I remember watching that race, of course. Matty Simmons always seemed to be around when he does take a victory. Yellow flag's out for something. I think that's all clear though, as 90 seconds remaining in this race. Let's recap. 3 seconds. This man is well and truly on his way, and boy, what about the variety in ACC AGT Season 2. This will be a 5th different race winner this season out of the 9 races that we've had, and that is fantastic. Thank you to the little birdie for that one. But 1 minute remaining, Simmons leads. Bishop in second. Struick has fallen a little bit further back now, 5.6. Then Matt Donetti, and Matt Donetti, by his lofty standards, not sure whether he's going to be too happy with this and the outcome from this round 6 of the season. Fleming, Carter, and then this man, Max Silver, who doesn't mind the Mercedes around this Bathurst circuit, enjoyed everything that he's been doing so far, not only in the sprint race, but of course in the feature race as well. And he's a long way ahead of, he's about 17 or 18 seconds ahead of this man in the Pro-Am class. Gray, of course, in P2, and then Sheppers in P3. Let's wait and see. Nick Hutton, 2.6 seconds further. Oh my goodness me, that is not ideal for him. They just bounce off those walls, don't they? But he's continuing on to fight for another day. And Ian Stewart, as we count down now, 3, 2, 1, 0. This will be the last lap of the race. We'll get back to Ian in a moment, but we see Matt Simmons. Has he conquered the mountain? Well, let's wait and see. He's still got 1 lap to go, but it's going to be hard to get him to see Simon Bishop doing anything from here on the final lap of this race.
Yeah, I think at this point, those in behind, they're not close enough. I mean, you can see Simon Bishop's tyres are going off at this stage of the race. It's got an extra lap. So just, you know, at the moment, I think Simon Bishop's just got to consolidate the fact that he's got P2 in the bag. He's lost out on P1 today, hasn't had the same strategy that Simmons had, didn't have the pace out on the mountain, so just needs to bring it home at this stage. It's been a great race to watch overall. Some big incidents, some amazingly unique incidents at the mountain today for AGT ACC. But I tell you, we've got a long way to go still in the championship, still round 7, 8, 9, and 10 to go. So there's plenty of room for Matt Donetti to make a comeback. He is still the Pro Championship leader, but this is going to really elevate both Simmons and Bishop, given that Matt Donetti is in 4th place. So lots of big point haul for these guys. The flash of the light from Matt Simmons. I think he might be watching the broadcast. Who knows? Or he's just put it on permanent flash all the way down the straight. He's clearly very, very happy. First win of Season 2 for him. Second win overall across both Season 1 and Season 2 of AGT ACC. The strategy executed to perfection. The overcut was the play, and he played it beautifully.
He certainly did. Out of the final corner we go. Matt Simmons has done it. First win since the Texas Showdown, race 1 in Season 1. He comes across the line, and for our 5th different race winner this season out of 9 races, variety is the spice of life. And Struick has finished second. Simon Bishop in 3rd. Has he run out of fuel or tyres or both? Incredible stuff there as we see that's drama late. Simon Bishop has dropped from 2nd to 3rd. Still a podium finish, but don't forget about those all-important championship points as we see Max Silver coming down Conrod Straight for the final time to taste victory in the Pro-Am class. So nice, I had to say that twice. Oh, a bit of a moment there, but he's going to be okay.
Well, of course, we've got action right up to the last second here. Let's see if he can navigate the final quarter. Doesn't need to be going fast, just needs to slow down, take it nice and easy, bring it across the line. Oh, he does step it out a little bit at the end. Great race from Silver. It didn't go his way in the sprint race. It did in the feature race. He wins Pro-Am class. Excellent work by that man. And yeah, it looks like Bishop did run out of fuel. Probably not expecting that last lap. There was 10 seconds to go as Simmons and Bishop crossed that line. So he was really hoping not to have an extra lap, but he did. And that's the result. He loses the position to Struick. So Struick stuck in there beautifully. And it's actually paid off for him wonderfully. Nothing really that he's done outside of just driving the car, and Bishop just didn't refuel enough in this race. Ian Stewart, big shout out for this man, and he's actually finishing in P20.
Let's have a look. Beautiful race from Ian Stewart. I think we even called him Jackie Stewart at one stage there, but he comes across the line to win in the AM class. Great result for him. P20 overall for Ian Stewart. And we're hearing that Simon might have been involved in an incident. He may have spun on that final lap. Oh boy, and look at the crowd in the background. You think they'd be a little bit more excited after seeing a race like that.
You'd think so. Oh, he had action right up into the last corner. Fantastic stuff. But yeah, that is being confirmed by our race control. Simon Bishop did spin on the last lap. Tyres were not in a good shape. He pushed it too hard, and there was no need to do so. But Struick will benefit from that mistake from Simon Bishop. And two mistakes, one that cost him a lot more in the sprint race, one that's cost him one position, but that's cost him points. He's second in the Pro Championship and needs to be getting every single point he can against Matt Donetti, who's now finished one position behind him instead of two.
Unbelievable. Let's just take a breath and take a look at the overall results there. In the Pro class, Matt Simmons in front of Josh Struick. Simon Bishop there spinning on the final lap there. Still a podium for him, but not the position on the podium that he was after. And of course, we saw that he also struggled, didn't he, with an incident in the sprint race as well. And I can tell you, we see the cars heading back to the lane. But let's just continue to recap those results for you. Of course, it was Struick in second, Bishop in P3 overall after spinning on the final lap. Max Silver in the Pro-Am class taking a victory in the feature race. Race number 2, Gray in second. Sheppers 3.3 further back, taking the final podium spot in the Pro-Am class, of course. And then Ian Stewart, great to not only see him inside the top 20 overall, but also winning the AM class there by a considerable distance. I believe we had Matty Boyd running as well. He finished P2, and I believe that they were the only two cars in the AM class for the feature race. But well, it's been jam-packed. We've run a little bit over time. I know it's getting late where you are, George, but what a round 6. What the TrackSpotTV challenge has been absolutely terrific action here this evening.
Yeah, great racing, unique accidents, action all the way up to the last part of the feature race. Worth staying up for at the end of the day is the call from the commentary box here, and hopefully from those viewing around the world and on YouTube for Adrenaline GT and the TrackSpotTV YouTube and Twitch. Brilliant, been brilliant, great racing, fantastic to see the drivers getting some successes. Big congrats to Matt Simmons on his first win this season. We'll see if that continues, see if he can make his way up in the Pro Championship. But overall, great stuff, and a pleasure to be watching and commentating as always.
Absolutely fantastic. That was round 6 of this championship, of course. Don't forget, next time out it is round 7, the community vote, Friday 25th of July. Going back to a more usual routine. Of course, nothing's ever standard or usual here in AGT, but that is a 15-minute qualifying session followed by a 60-minute race for that one in a couple of weeks' time. We've had back-to-back races, of course. We had the Spanish Super Sprint last week in Bathurst this week. Thank you, George, for staying up. Like I said, I know it's getting late where you are in your part of the world, but thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure, and hopefully we can get you back at some point for the rest of the season.
That'd be very nice, and yeah, pleasure to be here as always. Thanks to you, Trev. Thanks to all the admins in the background. Thanks for the drivers for putting on a good show. It's been really good to bring you guys the coverage and broadcasting. TrackSpotTV, you can check us out, https://trackspot.tv if you're looking for broadcasting, or if you fancy yourself a bit of a commentator or a broadcaster yourself, come and join on the team.
Absolutely. As we bid you farewell here this evening, we hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be kind to one another. Don't forget, we'll see you in 2 weeks' time for round 7 of this championship. But for now, it's goodbye. We'll see you next time.
Been trying to change what I've been trying to say. Words don't come straight from my head to my mouth.